Chapter 27-29. You're courting death. Seeing Zhou Qing's action, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold. He raised his hand and slashed at Zhou Qing. The 9-bull divine sword flashed and blasted out a sword radiance, slashing at Zhou Qing. Seeing Mo Qingyun swinging his sword, Zhou Ting, who was beside him, was stunned. He quickly said, "Supreme Elder Zhou Qing, be careful. His sword technique is very powerful." He clearly remembered that the Bloodwood bandits were severely injured by Mo Qingyun's sword. Unfortunately, Zhou Qing did not care about Zhou Ting's reminder at all. You're just a kid at the peak of star 2nd level. No matter how powerful you are, how powerful can you be? As soon as Zhou Qing finished his words, he blasted out a palm at Mo Qingyun, blasting out a violent saint energy. The violent saint energy blasted out and turned into a sharp palm shadow, clashing with the sword radiance. Slash. In the face of the incoming palm shadow, the sword radiance pierced through it and blasted Zhou Qing's body. Under the attack of the sword radiance, Zhou Qing's body was torn apart. His face was filled with shock. In just one exchange, his body was destroyed by Mo Qingyun's sword radiance. Seeing this scene, the people from the Zhou family all sucked in a mouthful of cold air. Mo Qingyun's combat strength was too terrifying. If that was the case, it would be extremely difficult for them to deal with Mo Qingyun. It seems like I made the right choice. Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, Tang Wan's face lit up. She was excited. In her opinion, with Mo Qingyun's strength, it would be too easy for him to save the Tang family. Who's next? Or do you want to come together? After crippling Zhou Qing, Mo Qingyun's face was cold as he looked at Zhou Zishan and the others. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, Zhou Zishan and the others trembled. Their eyes were filled with panic. Mo Qingyun's sword strike earlier had made them fearful. They thought that if they were to face that sword strike, they would not end up any better than Zhou Qing. Since you're not going to make a move, I'll have to take the initiative. Seeing that Zhou Zishan and the others were silent, Mo Qingyun said something and took the initiative to attack. Mo Qingyun's silhouette flickered, appearing above Zhou Mingyu and the others, slashing down with his sword. Suddenly, a huge golden ox shadow formed outside Mo Qingyun's body. The ox shadow surged out and transformed into a golden sword light, crashing toward Zhou Mingyu and the others. In the face of Mo Qingyun's attack, Zhou Mingyu and the others trembled as panic appeared in their eyes. This sword of Mo Qingyun's was simply too powerful. With their strength, they could not block it. "Brat, you're too arrogant. Don't be so savage in front of me." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Zhou Zishan let out a furious roar and punched out at Mo Qingyun. When Zhou Zimon punched out, a mysterious nomological power emanated from his body. Under the influence of the nomological power of space, the distance between the sword light and Zhou Mingyu and the others was instantly expanded. It's just the nomological power of space expansion. It's not enough to block my attack. Seeing Zhou Zishan's attack, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and also released a nomological power of space. As Mo Qingyun released the nomological power of space, the distance between the sword light and Zhou Mingyu and the others was instantly shortened. The nomological power of space. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Zhou Zishan and the others were stunned. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. This was something that they did not know about, so they were not prepared at all. They did not expect that Mo Qingyun had actually comprehended the nomological power of space. Immediately after, their gazes towards Mo Qingyun became even more fearful. Pucci. Under everyone's gaze, the sword light swept past Zhou Mingyu and the others, instantly sending them flying. After being hit by the sword light, Zhou Mingyu and the others were seriously injured and lost their ability to fight. Mingyu. Seeing that Zhou Mingyu was seriously injured, Zhou Zishan's expression changed. His face was filled with grief and indignation. Immediately after, the hatred in his eyes intensified as he looked at Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun did not care about his anger at all. He said, "There's no need to be angry. In a while, you will become a cripple just like him." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he did not wait for Zhou Zhishan to reply and attacked again. Spatial imprisonment. The moment Mo Qingyun attacked, he did not show any mercy. He immediately used the nomological power of space. When the nomological power of space was released, it imprisoned the surrounding space and restricted Zhou Zhishan's movements. Seeing this, Zhou Zhishan's expression changed. He said in shock, "The nomological power of space. He has comprehended 2 nomological powers of space." With Mo Qingyun's peak star sector level cultivation, the fact that he had comprehended 2 nomological powers of space once again shocked Zhou Zhishan. Ignoring Zhou Zhishan's shock, Mo Qingyun immediately slashed out with his sword, sending out a sharp sword light. Very quickly, the sword light engulfed Zhou Zhishan and attacked him domineeringly. After being hit by the sword light, Zhou Zhishan was immediately sent flying. He was seriously injured and lost the ability to continue fighting. After crippling Zhou Zhishan and Zhou Qing, only Zhou Guang was left of the Zhou family's 3 universe realm powerhouses. After seeing this, Zhou Zhishan and the others turned ashen. Despair filled their hearts. They knew very well that with Zhou Guang's strength, he was definitely no match for Mo Qingyun. Little friend, we were wrong. I am willing to compensate you." Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, Zhou Guang panicked and immediately begged for mercy from Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun's face darkened in response to Zhou Guang's begging. He shouted, "Don't you think it's a little too late to beg for mercy when you are about to die?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the faces of Zhou Guang and the others turned even paler. Under Zhou Guang's horrified gaze, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and quickly appeared in front of him. Ignore defense. Space imprisonment. When he arrived in front of Zhou Guang, Mo Qingyun stabbed out with his sword and slashed at Zhou Guang with great momentum. Facing Mo Qingyun's attack, Zhou Guang's old face twitched and he quickly retreated. When Zhou Guang retreated, he used the law of space expansion to increase the distance between him and Mo Qingyun. Space piercing. Seeing Zhou Guang's performance, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold and he activated the divine Sword of 9 Bulls. Immediately, the distance between him and Zhou Guang was instantly shortened. Pucci. As the distance between him and Zhou Guang was shortened, Zhou Guang widened his eyes and watched as the divine Sword of 9 Bulls pierced him. After being pierced by the divine Sword of 9 Bulls, a violent and overbearing saint power blasted into Zhou Guang's body. Under this force, Zhou Guang's body directly exploded and turned into ashes under Mo Qingyun's sword. Just like that, a universe realm powerhouse was completely killed. Seeing this scene, Zhou Zhishan and the others' faces turned ashen and despair rose in their hearts. At the same time, they also felt regret in their hearts. They should not have harbored evil intentions towards Mo Qingyun. However, it was too late to say this now. Today, Mo Qingyun's sword light was already in front of them. Chapter 2730. You're telling me this because you want me to help you, right? With Mo Qingyun's intelligence, he could guess Tang Wan's intention in reminding him. Otherwise, with her relationship with the Zhou family, she would not have reminded him for no reason. Mo Qingyun felt that the identity of a savior was far from enough. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Tang Wan showed a guilty expression. She did not know where to start. Mo Qingyun's guess was right. She did come to tell him this because she had other intentions. Tang Wan hesitated for a while and nodded at Mo Qingyun. She said, "I came to tell you this because I want you to help my Tang family once after you leave the Zhou family." Seeing Tang Wan's reaction, Mo Qingyun nodded. His impression of her improved a little. So far, it seemed that Tang Wan was honest and did not hide anything from him. After hearing Tang Wan's words, Mo Qingyun could roughly guess the purpose of Tang Wan's marriage to Zhou Mingyu. "It seems that you married Zhou Mingyu to get the Zhou family's help." After guessing Tang Wan's thoughts, Mo Qingyun pointed it out. He said, "You sent me this message because the Zhou family refused to help, so you put your hopes on me." After hearing Mo Qingyun's guess, Tang Wan's face was full of shock. She was shocked by Mo Qingyun's analytical ability. She did not expect that Mo Qingyun could know the whole story through a simple conversation. "Yes, that's right." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had guessed it, Tang Wan did not hide it anymore. She nodded to Mo Qingyun honestly. Seeing Tang Wan's reaction, Mo Qingyun's heart moved. He also made a decision. He said, "In that case, lead the way. We'll go to the Tang family." "You're willing to help me?" Tang Wan's pretty face was full of surprise. Mo Qingyun's decision greatly exceeded her expectations. In response to Tang Wan's question, Mo Qingyun shrugged and said, "Don't you want me to take action?" "And no." Tang Wan hurriedly waved her hand and explained. After deciding to help Tang Wan, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any more time and took out the Black Demon flying ship. "Let's go." Mo Qingyun took out the Black Demon flying ship, gave some instructions and walked in. Tang Wan hurriedly followed him and entered the flying boat, guiding Mo Qingyun in the direction ahead. According to Tang Wan, the Tang clan was originally a two-star clan, and there was a Universe Realm Supreme Elder in the clan. However, 10 years ago, this Universe Realm Grand Elder had entered a secret realm and had yet to return. The whereabouts of the Grand Elder of the Universe Realm were unknown, causing the Tang clan to have no experts to oversee it, causing some covetous people to invade. In the face of so many powerful enemies, although the Tang family was barely holding on, it was not a long-term solution. Therefore, they chose to form an alliance through marriage to resolve their crisis. Who knew that the Zhou clan would go back on their words and not be willing to send help? A secret realm that can cause a Universe Realm expert to lose his way must have some background. Mo Qingyun did not care about the Tang clan's crisis, but he was interested in the secret realm. If there was a chance, he wanted to enter and see if he could gain anything. In the following time, Mo Qingyun controlled the flying ship and chatted with Tang Wan. As he chatted with Tang Wan, Mo Qingyun was surprised to find out that the Tang clan's background was not simple. At its peak, the Tang clan was actually a 4-star force, overseeing the Tang clan of the Dark God continent. One day later, with Mo Qingyun rushing, the two of them arrived at the Dark God continent and entered an ancient sect. Due to the passage of time, this sect had declined, and most of the palaces had collapsed. Even so, Mo Qingyun could see the glory of this sect in the past. "Young master, this is the Tang clan. Let's go in." Looking at the front of the Tang clan manor, Tang Wan showed a respectful expression and invited Mo Qingyun in. Hearing Tang Wan's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and followed her into the manor. After entering the Tang clan manor, Mo Qingyun could feel an oppressive atmosphere. At this moment, the members of the Tang clan manor were in a tense state, as if they were on guard against a strong enemy. Along the way, some of the clansmen were surprised to see Tang Wan return. While they were surprised, they also had excited expressions on their faces. From their point of view, Tang Wan must have brought reinforcements with her when she returned. "Greetings, young miss." "Young miss, did you return with reinforcements? I wonder which Grand Elder the prefectural clan sent." Along the way, the clansmen of the Tang clan asked one after another. Tang Wan did not reply to their questions and directly walked into the conference hall. At this moment, the conference hall was filled with the elders of the Tang clan, who were discussing something. When they saw Tang Wan's arrival, their expressions relaxed, and they showed excited and expectant expressions. "Lil Wan, you've returned at the right time. Quickly introduce the powerful cultivator from the Zhou clan to me." The man sitting at the head of the conference hall urged excitedly when he saw Tang Wan return. That man was the patriarch of the Tang clan, Tang Hao. "Father, the Zhou clan has betrayed us. They have no intention of sending reinforcements." Tang Wan responded to Tang Hao's question with a desolate expression on her face. Hearing Tang Wan's answer, Tang Hao and the others in the conference hall were immediately stunned. If the Zhou clan did not send reinforcements, how could the Tang clan resolve their current crisis? Seeing the reaction of Tang Hao and the others, Tang Wan smiled sweetly. She pointed at Emo Qingyun next to her and said, "Even though the Zhou clan did not send reinforcements, with Mr. Emo here, the Tang clan's crisis will definitely be resolved." Everyone in the conference hall looked in the direction of Tang Wan's finger and was stunned. They all looked at Emo Qingyun. When they sensed Emo Qingyun's cultivation base, they were disappointed. Peak Star Domain cultivation base is far from enough. If we want to resolve our crisis, we must have a universe realm cultivator. Wanner, bring this young master to rest first. We'll talk about the rest later. After knowing Emo Qingyun's cultivation base, everyone lost hope in Emo Qingyun. Seeing everyone's reaction and attitude, Tang Wan immediately showed her dissatisfaction and wanted to explain to them. However, before she could say anything, Emo Qingyun stopped her. Then, Tang Wan led Emo Qingyun away to arrange accommodation for Emo Qingyun. She said, "Mr. Emo, I apologize on their behalf for what happened just now. Please don't take it to heart. It's just a small matter. There's no need to take it to heart." Emo Qingyun waved his hand nonchalantly at Tang Wan's explanation and said, "Don't worry. Since I promised to help, I won't go back on my word." "Okay." Hearing Emo Qingyun's promise, Tang Wan's pretty face immediately lit up with joy. Chapter 2731. In the evening. "Lil Wan, who's that Emo Qingyun? Why did you come back with him?" Tang Hao could easily guess that Tang Wan's trip to the Zhou family did not go smoothly. Tang Wan did not hide anything from Tang Hao and began to tell him what happened. Tang Hao's face was immediately filled with shock when he heard Tang Wan's story. "What? You encountered the Bloodwood bandits on your way to the Zhou family?" Tang Hao's expression changed. His eyes flashed with shock. He was shocked by the situation. He knew very well how powerful the Bloodwood bandits were. They were not much weaker than the Zhou family. Tang Wan was ambushed by the Bloodwood bandits on her way to the Zhou family. One could imagine how dangerous it was. Under Tang Hao's anxious gaze, Tang Wan did not stop talking. "We were definitely going to die under the Bloodwood bandits' siege. Fortunately, Mr. Mo stepped in and scared the Bloodwood bandits away with a single slash of his sword." Scared the Bloodwood bandits away with a single slash of his sword? Tang Hao was shocked when he heard Tang Wan's words. Obviously, he had some doubts about Tang Wan's words. However, he did not point it out immediately and continued to listen to Tang Wan's story. After that, Tang Wan recounted everything that happened in the past few days without missing a single detail. The more Tang Hao listened to Tang Wan's story, the more he furrowed his brows. In his opinion, Tang Wan's story was somewhat unrealistic. He killed Zhou Zhishan and the other two people with his peak cosmic domain cultivation? Tang Hao's brows were tightly furrowed. He had a strong suspicion that it was too unrealistic. He felt that no matter how powerful Emo Qingyun was, he would not be a match for a Cosmos Realm expert. Furthermore, it was impossible for him to defeat 3 Cosmos Realm experts at the same time. Looks like Wan is blindly infatuated with Emo Qingyun. Tang Hao could not help but sigh when he thought about it. His mood became heavy. In his opinion, Tang Wan had exaggerated Emo Qingyun's battle prowess. At this moment, many questions arose in Tang Hao's heart. He thought to himself, what exactly happened to the Zhou family? Why did Wan come back with Emo Qingyun? What is Emo Qingyun's background? Tang Hao's heart sank when he thought about Emo Qingyun's identity. A wanted criminal of the Blood Soul royal family. This is not easy to deal with. Tang Hao thought about it for a while, then said to Tang Wan with a tired expression, "Lil Wan, that young Master Emo has a special identity. Don't let him walk around as he pleases, or he might attract unwanted attention and reveal his identity." "Yes." Tang Wan nodded when she heard Tang Hao's instructions. He knew very well that if Mo Qingyun's identity was exposed, it would not be good for Mo Qingyun and the Tang family. After giving Tang Wan some instructions, Tang Hao did not stay any longer and left Tang Wan's residence. With that, Tang Hao gave up on relying on Mo Qingyun to fend off the enemy. Soon after, Mo Qingyun was completely forgotten in the Tang family. Mo Qingyun did not care about such a situation. He patiently stayed in the Tang family's residence. At this moment, Tang Wan walked into the courtyard and stood in front of Mo Qingyun. "Mr. Mo, I've already asked around for the information you asked me to find out." Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up and he looked excited. Under Mo Qingyun's nervous gaze, Tang Wan smiled sweetly and said, "I found out from Father that the place where the Supreme Elder went missing is a dangerous place called the Demonic Tower of Time." The Demonic Tower of Time? Mo Qingyun's expression became serious. He was even more interested in the Demonic Tower of Time. Mo Qingyun felt that the Demonic Tower of Time that Tang Wan mentioned might be related to the Law of Time. Seeing that Mo Qingyun did not speak, Tang Wan continued, "The Demonic Tower of Time has existed for a long time. It is said that it was built by a realm lord. In addition to a large number of treasures, it can also help people comprehend the law of time." As expected, after hearing Tang Wan's words, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. When Mo Qingyun realized this, his curiosity about the Demonic Tower of Time immediately became stronger. After explaining the situation of the Demonic Tower of Time, Tang Wan took out a map and said, "The Demonic Tower of Time is not a secret treasure. This is the map to go to it. I hope it will be of some use to you." "Thank you." Mo Qingyun thanked Tang Wan as he took the map from her. With this map, it would be much easier for him to go to the Demonic Tower of Time. While Mo Qingyun and Tang Wan were talking, waves of terrifying auras approached. Mo Qingyun sensed these auras as they approached and looked at the sky above the Tang family. Mo Qingyun scanned the area and saw hundreds of celestial domain-grade powerhouses surrounding the Tang family. It seemed like the crisis Tang Wan was talking about was referring to these people. Tang Wan's pretty face tensed up when she saw the people above the Tang family. She looked at Mo Qingyun nervously. It seemed like she wanted Mo Qingyun to make a move and chase these people away from the Tang family. "Don't worry. Nothing will happen to these celestial domain-grade powerhouses with me around." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and comforted Tang Wan before walking out of the small courtyard. When Mo Qingyun walked out of the courtyard, Tang Hao and the others flew into the air and confronted the invaders. "Tang Hao, your Tang family has already declined. Move out of the old site of the Tang Xian Divine Sect immediately." The people in the sky above Tang Mansion smirked smugly as they gave orders to Tang Hao. Tang Hao's face darkened when he heard these people. He looked at them warily and shouted, "You want my Tang family to move out? Let's see if you have the ability to do so." Everyone had expected Tang Hao's attitude. One of the old men in strange clothes sneered. "Tang Hao, your Tang family is only relying on a broken defensive formation. Let's see if you can still be so arrogant after we break the defensive formation. Grandmaster Bien Sun, please make a move and break the defensive formation of the Tang family." The old man in strange clothes cupped his hands toward a black-robed old man and asked him to break the formation. Hearing the old man's words, the black-robed old man nodded and flew towards the entrance of the Tang Mansion. "Bien Sun, it's actually him. This kid is in trouble." Tang Hao's expression tensed up even more when he saw the black-robed old man make a move. Obviously, he was very familiar with the black-robed old man and knew how skilled he was in formations. While Tang Hao was feeling anxious, Tang Wan walked in front of him and said, "Don't worry, Dad. With Mr. Mo here, nothing will happen." "Him?" Tang Hao looked at Mo Qingyun and shook his head in disappointment. "Wan you can't interfere in this matter. Take Mr. Mo and leave first." Tang Wan wanted to persuade Tang Hao after hearing his attitude. However, before she could say anything, Tang Hao interrupted her. It's already chaotic enough here. Don't add to the chaos. Chapter 2732. Don't be anxious. Watch patiently. Emo Qingyun patted Tang Wan's shoulder when he saw her return to his side. Tang Wan nodded obediently under Emo Qingyun's comforting words. Her expression became more relaxed. In her opinion, since Emo Qingyun had said so, nothing would happen. Bien Sun was a quasi-level 5 formation master. His knowledge of formations was very profound. Even Emo Qingyun was inferior to him. His experience in formations was far inferior to his. Under Bien Sun's attack, the formation foundations of the already broken defensive formation were broken one after another. As the array foundations were broken one after another, the power that the array emitted also weakened rapidly. From the looks of it, it wouldn't be long before the mansion protecting Grand Array was broken. Tang Hao and the others' expressions immediately became grave when they heard that. If the protective formation was broken, they would be in a bad situation. They would be reduced to a situation where they would be slaughtered. Compared to Tang Hao and the others, Emo Qingyun's expression was relaxed. This person's knowledge of formations is only one step away from level 5. I can recruit him for my own use. Emo Qingyun had a plan when he thought of that. He decided to recruit Bien Sun. Time passed by slowly. Bang! Suddenly, a loud sound was heard. The defensive formation of Tang Mansion was broken. Following the destruction of the protective array, the Tang Mansion's last line of defense was completely lost. Tang Hao and the others looked at the wide-open gates of Tang Mansion. Their faces turned pale, and they all revealed looks of despair. Tang Hao, the defensive formation of Tang Mansion has been broken. Are you still going to resist? Seeing that the defensive formation had been broken, the old man from before looked at Tang Hao smugly. Under the other party's questioning, Tang Hao's expression was dejected. He did not have any fighting spirit. It was obvious that he had given up on resisting and had no choice but to give up Tang Mansion. Elder Blood Serpent, we'll give up the old site of the Tang Xian Divine Sect. We only ask that you don't hurt the people of Tang Mansion. Tang Hao thought for a while and made a decision. He told her his request. When he heard Tang Hao's words, the old man sneered and said, Tang Hao, do you think you have any room to bargain under the current circumstances? As soon as the Blood Serpent old man finished speaking, a sloppy middle-aged man flashed a sinister smile and said, Tang Hao, I've heard that your daughter is as beautiful as a flower. I'm thinking of marrying 37 concubines. Marry your daughter to me, and I'll guarantee that you won't die. How about that? Drunkbeard Wine Elder, don't go too far. If worse comes to worst, I'll fight you to the death. Tang Hao's face darkened when he heard the unkempt middle-aged man's words. He radiated a strong killing intent. The drunkard didn't care about Tang Hao's anger at all. His figure flashed as he flew toward Tang Wan. You want to stop me? Let's see if you have the ability to stop me from snatching her away. The drunkard wine man's figure flashed and appeared in front of Tang Wan, reaching out to grab her. Stop! Tang Hao's expression sank when he saw the drunkard's actions, and he immediately roared at him. Unfortunately, the drunkard wine man's movements were too fast, and it was too late for him to stop him. Immediately, Tang Hao became anxious. His face was filled with anxiety. While Tang Hao was panicking, a thin figure stood in front of Tang Wan and blocked her path. Scram! Emo Qingyun's expression sank and he angrily roared at the drunkard. As Emo Qingyun berated him, he also sent out a palm strike that blasted out oppressive palm shadows. The drunkard wine man was immediately forced back by the bombardment of these palm shadows, and he looked gravely at Emo Qingyun. Although Emo Qingyun's cultivation base wasn't high and was only at the peak of the celestial domain level, the drunkard wine man felt that he was very dangerous. Soon after, the drunkard solemnly sized up Emo Qingyun. A brat with a celestial domain cultivation actually dares to meddle in my business? You're courting death. After sizing up Mo Qingyun, the drunkard wine man's expression darkened, and he once again made a move against Mo Qingyun. The moment the drunkard wine man made a move, a shockingly powerful aura erupted from his body. "You're just a quasi-universe stage ant." In the face of the drunkard wine man's attack, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and raised his hand to take out the divine Nine-Bull sword. As soon as the divine Nine-Bull sword appeared in his hand, Mo Qingyun swung it, sending out a dazzling sword ray. The sword ray flashed and swept past the drunkard wine man's body, splitting him in two. How is this possible? How can you be so strong? Drunkard wine master revealed a shocked expression after being heavily injured by Mo Qingyun's sword. He was frightened by this scene. Then, he hurriedly retreated, not daring to attack Mo Qingyun again. Who is that brat? He actually injured the drunkard wine man with one strike. Could he be a helper of the Tang family? But Tang Hao doesn't seem like it. He's probably just passing by. He shouldn't be here to help the Tang family. No matter what, this brat is very strong. He'll be a difficult opponent. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the Blood Serpent Elder and the others had grave expressions as they discussed. Could it be that what Wan Er said was true? Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Tang Hao stood rooted to the ground, his mind blank. Mo Qingyun's performance was too shocking, and he had no choice but to believe it. While Tang Hao was shocked, he was also ecstatic, and his mood became excited. If what Tang Wan said was true, then with Mo Qingyun's strength, dealing with the drunkard wine man would be too easy. After forcing the drunkard wine man back with one strike, Mo Qingyun did not waste time talking nonsense with him. He said in a deep voice, "I'll give you a chance to live. From now on, submit to the Tang family and I can spare your lives." When Mo Qingyun said those words, the surroundings fell silent. His words shocked them quite a bit. After a brief moment of silence, a quasi-universal realm expert said with a disdainful expression, "You're just a kid at the peak of the star domain realm. Even if you're very strong, you don't have the right to order us around. You have a death wish." Seeing that person's reaction, Mo Qingyun's gaze turned cold, and he directly slashed at him with his sword. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, a mysterious power spread out from his body. Tang Hao and the others were shocked when they sensed the power. That was the power of the laws of space. The laws of space. He really comprehended the laws of space. Sensing the power of the laws on Mo Qingyun's body, Tang Hao's old face was filled with shock. Then, the way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed greatly. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the person who talked back to Mo Qingyun was directly blasted into ashes by the sword light. Seeing that person's fate, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They were extremely afraid of Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2733. I'll give you 3 breaths of time to consider. After killing that person with a single slash, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything else and directly ordered them. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of drunkard wine man and the others immediately became heavy. They didn't expect that coming to the Tang family today would result in such a result. After a short while, drunkard wine man and the others looked at each other and helplessly chose to submit. The winner takes all. In this confrontation with the Tang family, they had suffered a crushing defeat. Seeing that everyone had chosen to submit to the Tang family, Mo Qingyun nodded at Tang Hao and said, "Tang family head, since they're willing to submit, you can subdue them." "Thank you, Mr. Mo." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Hao's face immediately lit up with joy and excitement. If he could subdue these people, the Tang family's strength would skyrocket and the crisis would be resolved. After resolving the Tang family's crisis, Mo Qingyun looked at Bien Sun and said, "I'll also give you a choice. Follow me or be killed by me immediately." "Kid, I'm an elder of the 8 faculties continents Heavenly Eye Formation sect. If you dare to touch my Heavenly Eye sect, I won't let you off." Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, Bien Sun's face turned cold and immediately warned Emo Qingyun. However, Emo Qingyun directly ignored his warning and said, "Since that's the case, I can only kill you to prevent you from going back to the Heavenly Eye sect to find help." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't say anything else and immediately slashed at Bien Sun. As Emo Qingyun waved his sword, a sword light flashed out and blasted towards Bien Sun with extreme speed. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Bien Sun was so frightened that his face twitched and a trace of shock appeared in his eyes. He didn't expect that Emo Qingyun would still dare to make a move on him after he mentioned the Heavenly Eye sect. With such an outcome, Bien Sun understood that it was impossible to threaten Emo Qingyun. "Young master, please have mercy. This old man is willing to submit." Understanding his situation, Bien Sun hurriedly begged for mercy, no longer daring to maintain his status. With a thought, Emo Qingyun released the laws of space when he heard Bien Sun's pleas. Then, the sword ray pierced through Bien Wen's body, but it did not cause him any harm. Law of spatial overlap. Seeing this scene, some people immediately recognized the law that Emo Qingyun used. Immediately, they looked at Emo Qingyun with even more respect. The spatial laws that Emo Qingyun comprehended were actually not one type, but two types. No, not two, but three. Tang Hao's body trembled when he recalled Tang Wan's words. He had made a major discovery. Tang Wan had not mentioned that Emo Qingyun had comprehended the law of spatial overlap. Following that, the shock in Tang Hao's heart immediately intensified. He actually comprehended three types of spatial laws at the peak of the star domain realm. This talent is too terrifying. Tang Hao muttered to himself. He looked meaningfully at Tang Wan and Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun did not care about Tang Hao's thoughts. After subduing Bien Sun, he walked into the Tang mansion and instructed Bien Sun, "Bien Sun, you broke the Tang mansion's protective formation. Help him set up a new one." "Yes." Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, Bien Sun hurriedly nodded in response. Tang Hao and the others were overjoyed when they saw Emo Qingyun's arrangement. Their faces were full of gratitude. If Bien Sun set up a protective formation, the safety of the Tang mansion would be guaranteed. Seeing Emo Qingyun walk into the mansion, Tang Wan hurriedly followed and said, "Mr. Emo, thank you for your help. Do you have any instructions for Wan? I'm going into seclusion for a few days. Protect me for a while." After instructing Tang Wan, Emo Qingyun returned to his room. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Tang Wan did not think too much about it. She silently stood guard outside Emo Qingyun's room. After Emo Qingyun returned to his room, he entered the Fortune mainland in a flicker to hunt Grand Mist spirits to cultivate. He had gathered all the materials needed to cultivate the third stage of the 9 Directions Divine Bull Sword technique. He only needed to raise his cultivation to the universe realm. When he reached the universe realm and cultivated the third stage of the 9 Directions Divine Bull Sword technique, his strength would definitely soar. After arriving at the Fortune mainland, Emo Qingyun jumped into the Grand Mist Sea to hunt Grand Mist spirits to cultivate. Following the great increase in Emo Qingyun's strength, his efficiency in hunting primordial spirits was much higher than before. 5 days later, under Emo Qingyun's hunting, he had a great harvest. In this hunt, he had actually killed a mid-stage universe realm Grand Mist spirit. If I refine these Grand Mist spirits, I should be able to break through to half-step universe realm. Looking at the Grand Mist spirits in front of him, Emo Qingyun's face lit up with anticipation. He immediately started refining them. Soon, a black light gate exuding devouring power formed above Emo Qingyun. When the black light gate formed, it extracted the Grand Mist energy from the Grand Mist spirits and channeled it into Emo Qingyun's body. Refine. Sensing the Grand Mist energy entering his body, Emo Qingyun began refining it, raising his cultivation bit by bit. At this moment, Emo Qingyun's cultivation and physique improved at the same time. As Mo Qingyun cultivated, time passed very quickly. Soon, more than 10 days had passed. After over 10 days of cultivation, Mo Qingyun had completely refined all of the Grand Mist spirits he had hunted this time. Half-Step Universe Realm. Just as Mo Qingyun had guessed, after refining these Grand Mist spirits, his cultivation rose to Half-Step Universe Realm. Seeing his cultivation progress, Mo Qingyun felt a sense of anticipation. He thought to himself, with this cultivation speed, I will be able to break through to the universe realm in 2 months. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun prepared to hunt and kill Grand Mist spirits to raise his cultivation. Master, the array is complete. As Mo Qingyun was preparing to hunt, Bien Sun's words appeared in his mind. After hearing Bien Sun's voice transmission, Mo Qingyun stopped what he was doing and stopped hunting Grand Mist spirits. Since the Tang family's matter is settled, I should head to the Time Demon Pagoda. With a plan in mind, Mo Qingyun left the Sea of Grand Mist and returned to his room. Then, Mo Qingyun opened the door and walked out of his room. When Mo Qingyun came out of his room, Tang Wan, who was standing guard outside, was shocked. Young Master Mo, you've made a breakthrough in your cultivation? It has improved slightly. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and nodded. After replying to Tang Wan, he didn't want to stay any longer. He directly said goodbye to Tang Wan. Miss Tang, since the Tang family's matter is settled, I should also bid you farewell. You are leaving? Tang Wan asked, unwilling to part with him. She hadn't expected Mo Qingyun to leave so soon. Chapter 2734. I won't be bidding farewell to the patriarch of the Tang family. Please help me pass the message. Mo Qingyun conveyed his thoughts to Tang Wan, then left. Tang Wan looked at Mo Qingyun's back with a reluctant expression. Mr. Mo, will we meet again after you leave? She asked. We'll meet again if fate allows. Mo Qingyun did not even turn his head as he replied in a carefree manner. Tang Wan clenched her fists as she looked at Mo Qingyun's back. In the end, she did not ask him to stay. The young man in front of her was a true dragon who should not be bound by shackles. At that moment, Tang Hao and the others arrived. They walked toward Mo Qingyun's house with joyful expressions on their faces. They were overjoyed that the Tang family's crisis had been resolved and that they had subdued Drunkard and the others. Wan is Mr. Mo in the house? Tang Hao asked softly as he came in front of Tang Wan. Tang Wan was a little listless when she heard Tang Hao's question. He just left. He asked me to pass the message on his behalf. He left? Tang Hao and the others were shocked. They were very surprised by the news. Then, he looked at Tang Wan helplessly. He could tell that Tang Wan had a good impression of Mo Qingyun. Unfortunately, she had fallen in love with him but not with him. Sigh. Tang Hao sighed, trying to ease the disappointment in his heart. He said, It seems that we were expecting too much. How could a true dragon like young Master Mo reside in our Tang family? Everyone nodded in agreement with Tang Hao's thoughts. They were already very lucky that Mo Qingyun was willing to help them. Since Mr. Mo isn't here, everyone can leave. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had left, Tang Hao waved his hand and gestured for everyone to go about their own business. Then, under Tang Hao's signal, everyone left. After everyone left, Tang Hao revealed a concerned expression and said, Mr. Mo left the Tang family for the sake of the Tang family. After all, his identity is special. He's a wanted criminal of the Blood Soul royal family. If his identity is exposed, it won't be a good thing for our Tang family. He doesn't want to implicate the Tang family. Yes. Tang Wan nodded. After a moment of silence, she said, Father, I'm a bit tired. I'll go back to rest first. Go. Tang Hao waved his hand when he heard what Tang Wan said. After that, Tang Hao did not stay any longer and turned around to return to his residence. Before Tang Hao left, he instructed the servants to keep everything in Mo Qingyun's courtyard unchanged. In the vast starry sky, On a black flying boat, an old man stood respectfully beside a young man and said, "Master, the space-time demonic pagoda is now occupied by the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. If you want to enter the space-time demonic pagoda, you have to become a disciple of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect." Supreme Harmony Demon sect. Hearing the old man's words, the young man frowned, and some surprise appeared on his face. Tang Wan did not mention this in her previous story. However, he did not pay much attention to it. Tang Wan had only heard about it from hearsay. It was understandable that she did not know the exact situation of the space-time demonic pagoda. In that case, let's go to the Supreme Harmony Demon sect first. As for the other matters, we'll talk about them after we enter the sect. After knowing the requirements to enter the space-time demonic pagoda, Mo Qingyun had a plan. He decided to enter the Supreme Harmony Demon sect first. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Bien Sun immediately obeyed and controlled the black demon flying boat to the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. After letting Bien Sun control the flying boat, Mo Qingyun entered the cabin of the flying boat and continued to cultivate and improve his strength. Now that my cultivation has improved, I can comprehend another type of spatial law. Mo Qingyun sat cross-legged in the cabin. His mind spun quickly as he thought about which spatial law to comprehend. I have comprehended 4 types of spatial law: compression, expansion, confinement, and overlap. There are still 3 types of spatial law left: shattering, deflection, and penetration. The power of shattering law can be replaced by the 9-bull divine sword. Deflection is not of much use to me. Only the shattering law is left. Mo Qingyun thought in his heart and made a choice. He decided to comprehend the spatial shattering law first. Immediately, Mo Qingyun sat in the cabin and comprehended the spatial law unhurriedly. With the help of the space gate, Mo Qingyun had a much easier time comprehending the spatial shattering law compared to others. It did not take long for his comprehension of the spatial shattering law to enter the entry level. Time passed by slowly. The closer they got to the Supreme Harmony Demon sect, the more thorough Mo Qingyun's comprehension of the spatial shattering law became. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who had been cultivating, was awakened by Bien Sun's shout. "We have already arrived at the Supreme Harmony Demon sect?" Mo Qingyun exited from his cultivation with a look of surprise on his face. After sensing his cultivation progress again, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding. "Based on the current situation, I will be able to comprehend the spatial shattering law in a few days at most." With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun walked out of the black demon flying boat. When he came out of the black demon flying boat, a strange black palace appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. This was the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that there were many people gathered outside the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. Why are there so many people gathered in front of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect's mountain gate? Seeing the situation in the Supreme Harmony Demon sect, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock. He was very surprised by the situation. Hearing Mo Qingyun's surprised words, Bien Sun scanned the front and whispered to Mo Qingyun, "Master, your luck is not bad. The Supreme Harmony Demon sect's once-in-a-decade disciple recruitment is just right for you to come across it. It seems that my luck is indeed very good." After knowing the situation in front of him, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and felt a sense of joy. If that was the case, he would be able to enter the Supreme Harmony Demon sect without a hitch. Let's go over. After understanding the situation in the Supreme Harmony Demon sect, Mo Qingyun walked over directly. After a while, Mo Qingyun came to the back of the crowd and waited for his identity to be registered. While Mo Qingyun was waiting, an old man in a fur robe walked over and looked at Bien Sun with a cold smile. "Hey, isn't this Master Bien Sun of the Heavenly Eye sect? Why were you chased out by the Heavenly Eye sect? Are you preparing to take refuge in the Demon sect?" Hearing this person's words, Emo Qingyun frowned and couldn't help but take a few more glances at him. With Emo Qingyun's eyesight, he could tell that this person most likely had a grudge against Bien Sun. That person turned around when he sensed Emo Qingyun's gaze, and then he glanced at Emo Qingyun and said, "Oh my, this young man looks so similar to you. He wouldn't be your illegitimate son, right? Since when did you like this, Master Bien Sun?" Liang Huanqing, shut up. Seeing that the other party was insulting Emo Qingyun, Bien Sun immediately shouted in anger. In his opinion, he could ignore Liang Huanqing's insult. However, he couldn't tolerate someone insulting Emo Qingyun. "It's our turn. Let's go over." Emo Qingyun ignored Liang Huanqing's mockery. Chapter 27:35. Master, I've caused you trouble because of my matters. After a short while, after Emo Qingyun registered his identity, Bien Sun had an apologetic look on his face as he blamed himself. Emo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently in response to Bien Sun's self-reproach. "It's just a small matter. You don't have to take it to heart." Liang Huanqing walked over again while Emo Qingyun and Bien Sun were talking. He even brought two young men with him. Liang Huanqing smiled coldly when he arrived in front of Emo Qingyun and Bien Sun. He said to the two young men beside him, "Chengyin, Chengxing, this is Master Bien Sun's illegitimate son. Remember to take good care of him after you enter the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. Liang Huanqing, don't go overboard. This won't do you any good." Bien Sun was immediately enraged when he saw Liang Huanqing's actions. He shouted angrily with a dark expression. Liang Huanqing didn't mind Bien Sun's angry expression at all. "Master Bien Sun, what are you doing? I've always remembered what you did to my Liang family back then." Bien Sun was immediately at a loss for words when he heard Liang Huanqing's words. Liang Huanqing smiled coldly when he saw that Bien Sun was at a loss for words. He waved his hand at the two young men beside him. Before the two young men left, they looked Emo Qingyun up and down, their eyes filled with deep meaning. Clearly, they remembered Liang Huanqing's words and were thinking of how to teach Emo Qingyun a lesson. "Master," Bien Sun's face darkened when he saw Liang Huanqing's group of three. He looked extremely furious. However, Emo Qingyun interrupted him before he could speak. "Tell me about the enmity between you and Liang Huanqing." Emo Qingyun asked curiously as he raised his hand to interrupt Bien Sun. Bien Sun didn't hide anything from Emo Qingyun's question. "Back then, Liang Huanqing begged me to set up a defensive formation for the Liang residents. However, after I finished setting up the formation, he embezzled the promised reward. In a fit of anger, I detonated the formation. That's how we became enemies." "Detonated the Liang residence's defensive formation?" Shock appeared on Emo Qingyun's face when he learned the reason from Bien Sun. Although Liang Huanqing was at fault, Bien Sun's retaliation was too ruthless. "Forget it, don't bother with them." Emo understood the situation. He didn't bother with Liang Huanqing's group of three people. "I hope they know their place and don't seek their own death of their own accord." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he walked to the side and waited for the entrance examination to begin. Of the first round. Of the first of the test. Of the first to begin. To the. To. That. Of course. To the S2. Apart from that, there's another shortcut to passing the test. That's to kill others and steal their tokens. By gathering the power of 2 tokens, you can break the seal of the Black Dragon Cave and directly pass the test. Emo Qingyun was shocked when he heard this. He was surprised that there was a second way to pass the test. This way, many people would die after the first round. It had to be said that this test was a little too cruel. The demon sect's way of doing things is indeed different from common sense. Mo Qingyun felt relieved when he thought of the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect's background. Demon Sect cultivators were bloodthirsty. To them, killing was the most normal thing. If they couldn't even pass this test, wouldn't they be courting death if they entered the Demon Sect? Take your tokens and enter the Black Dragon Cave. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, he raised his hand and waved it, tossing out Black Dragon tokens one after another. The Black Dragon tokens were tossed out and flew towards the candidates one by one, sending them into the Black Dragon Denver. I'm going in. After Mo Qingyun said this, he walked towards the Black Dragon Devil Cave. Soon, Mo Qingyun received a token and entered the Black Dragon Cave. The Black Dragon Cave was set up with a spatial array, making it look like a continent of the Dragon Clan. Mo Qingyun looked around and saw all kinds of Dragon Clan members, alternative dragons, and demonic beasts of the Dragon Clan running around in a frenzy. The appearance of Mo Qingyun and the others immediately attracted the attention of the Dragon Clan members, and they rushed towards them. They're all in the Celestial Domain grade, and some of them are in the Quasi-Universe grade. Mo Qingyun looked at the demonic beasts of the Dragon Clan and knew how strong they were. Facing so many demonic beasts of the Dragon Clan, it wouldn't be easy to pass through the entire Black Dragon Cave. It seemed that if he wanted to pass the test, he would have to obtain the Black Dragon token. Of course, it wouldn't be too difficult for Mo Qingyun to pass through the entire Black Dragon Cave. Kid, die. Hand over the token and I'll spare your life. Haha, I got the token. I'll take my leave first. In a short while, smoke filled the air. The people taking the test started to attack the people around them. In just a short while, nearly 100 people had died in the assessment. Mo Qingyun swept his gaze over his surroundings. He didn't bother with the others and began to fly deeper into the Black Dragon Denver. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun was about to move, a person blocked his path. Mo Qingyun's eyes narrowed when he recognized the person blocking his way. His face darkened. The person blocking his path was one of the two youths from before, Liang Qingxing. Kid, why are you in such a hurry to go there? Do you want me to protect you? Blocking Mo Qingyun's path, Liang Qingxing sneered with a mocking look in his eyes. My request is very simple. Hand over the Black Dragon token, and I can guarantee that you won't die here. Mo Qingyun didn't pay attention to Liang Qingxing's words. Get out of my way if you don't want to die. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he released a wave of killing intent towards Liang Qingxing. Liang Qingxing's face darkened when he saw Mo Qingyun's reaction. Kid, I could have spared your life if you handed over the Black Dragon token. But I've changed my mind. I want the token and I'll kill you. After Liang Qingxing finished speaking, his figure flashed as he pointed at Mo Qingyun. Liang Qingxing's finger emitted a dazzling light that turned into a sky full of starlight as it shot towards Mo Qingyun. You're courting death. Mo Qingyun's face turned cold when he saw Liang Qingxing's action. He slashed out with his sword. The Nine-Bull Divine Sword slashed out with a powerful sword aura that extinguished the starlight in the sky. After extinguishing the starlight, the sword aura's attack didn't decrease and continued to press towards Liang Qingxing. How is this possible? How can his strength? Liang Qingxing's face turned pale when he saw the power of Mo Qingyun's sword. His body trembled. Chapter 2736. The sword light flashed and pierced through Liang Qingxing's body, splitting him into two. Liang Qingxing's body was cut open by the sword light. His gaze gradually became unfocused, and his aura slowly dissipated. As Liang Qingxing was killed, the Black Dragon token that he had refined flew out of his body. Mo Qingyun raised his hand and the Black Dragon token landed in his hand. Let's explore the Black Dragon cave first. If it doesn't work, I'll use the Black Dragon token to leave. Looking at the Black Dragon token in his hand, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before deciding to continue. He wanted to see if there was anything special about the Black Dragon Cave. However, Emo Qingyun didn't go far before his path was blocked again. Two people stood in front of him with cold expressions. One is at the peak of the Celestial Domain realm, and the other is at the Half-Step Universe realm. Emo Qingyun snorted as he looked at the two people in front of him. His expression gradually turned cold. Given their strength, robbing him was equivalent to courting death. "Kid, we only want the Black Dragon token. Hand it over if you don't want to die. The two of us saw how you killed one of them. Hand over the 2 Black Dragon tokens." The two of them blocked Emo Qingyun's path and ordered Emo Qingyun to hand over the Black Dragon tokens. Emo Qingyun's face darkened when he heard their words. He said in a low voice, "Since the two of you saw me kill someone, aren't you afraid that you will follow in his footsteps?" The two of them turned solemn when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. A tinge of fear appeared in their eyes. The strength that Emo Qingyun had just displayed was indeed a threat to them. "I admit that you are very strong. However, if the two of us join forces, we still have a chance of winning." The two of them were silent for a while before one of them stepped forward and said, "As the saying goes, wealth comes from danger. In order to get your 2 Black Dragon tokens, it's worth taking a risk." After the two of them finished speaking, they didn't say anything else and directly attacked Emo Qingyun. "Since you want to die, I'll send you on your way." Looking at the two people attacking, Emo Qingyun's eyes turned cold. He waved the 9 Oxen Divine sword and slashed at them. The 9 Oxen Divine sword flashed twice in succession and slashed out 2 sharp sword lights, which blasted towards the two people at an extremely fast speed. Space compression law. Sensing the power of the law in the sword light, the two of them trembled and their eyes were filled with shock. Emo Qingyun's performance frightened them. A powerhouse who comprehended the laws of space was absolutely not someone they could contend with. Unfortunately, it was too late for them to regret it now. Puff! Just as the two of them started to panic, the sword light pierced through their bodies, instantly killing them. After the two were killed by Emo Qingyun, the Black Dragon tokens they refined floated before Emo Qingyun's eyes. Looking at the 2 Black Dragon tokens, Emo Qingyun didn't think too much and immediately took them. After putting away the Black Dragon tokens, Emo Qingyun glanced around and his eyes turned cold. He discovered that there was a group of people surrounding him, eyeing him covetously. If he wasn't wrong, these people also had the same idea. They were eyeing his Black Dragon tokens. "I want to see how many people are not afraid of death and want to snatch the Black Dragon tokens in my hands." Guessing the thoughts of the people around him, Emo Qingyun smiled mockingly, emitting a strong killing intent. Emo Qingyun scanned his surroundings, then continued to venture deeper into the Black Dragon den, ignoring the others who were glaring at him. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, everyone looked at each other and chose to continue following him. They all wanted to know what Emo Qingyun wanted to do. Logically speaking, Emo Qingyun already had 4 Black Dragon tokens and could directly leave the Black Dragon Cave. But he continued to go deeper into the Black Dragon Cave. This was too abnormal. As he went deeper into the Black Dragon Cave, he encountered more and more powerful dragon demonic beasts. Some of the people who weren't strong enough gradually felt the pressure and couldn't continue to follow Emo Qingyun. "I can't wait any longer. I have to act as soon as possible." Seeing their situation, those people didn't hesitate and immediately attacked Emo Qingyun. Soon, Emo Qingyun's path was blocked by several people. Another group of people coming to die. Looking at the group of people blocking his path, Emo Qingyun smiled mockingly. Then, he didn't speak to these people and directly slashed at them with his sword. When Emo Qingyun attacked, a terrifying aura exploded from his body. At the same time, a powerful sword light shot out from the 9 Bull Divine sword. Chi. Facing Emo Qingyun's attack, those who blocked his path were immediately slaughtered. In just one exchange, several people who had blocked his path had died under his sword. After these people were killed, The black dragon tokens that they refined were taken away by Mo Qingyun. Because of this, the number of black dragon tokens on Mo Qingyun's body had increased to more than 10. That kid already has more than 10 black dragon token badges. He's collecting so many black dragon tokens. Could it be that he has some intentions? Who cares what he has in mind? Anyway, this kid is a treasure. Kill him and we can all pass the test. Let's do it together. In front of such a huge temptation, no one could remain calm. Then, they attacked Mo Qingyun, wanting to join forces to kill Mo Qingyun. In an instant, more than 10 people attacked Mo Qingyun at the same time. They weren't afraid of Mo Qingyun's strength at all. There are so many people who aren't afraid of death. Looking at the attacking group, Mo Qingyun laughed coldly and took the initiative to welcome them. When Mo Qingyun rushed towards these people, he unleashed sword aura to increase his defensive power. Then, one after another, sword auras with threatening auras guarded Mo Qingyun's surroundings. Under the protection of the sword auras, everyone's attacks on Mo Qingyun were all blocked. After blocking everyone's attacks, Mo Qingyun did not relent and immediately launched a counterattack. Very soon, one sword aura after another rumbled out, slaughtering the people surrounding him. Like the previous few waves of people, these people were still slaughtered like clay chickens and pottery dogs under Mo Qingyun's attack. In just a short while, these dozen people were killed, allowing Mo Qingyun to snatch away the black dragon tokens. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that the more he slaughtered, the more people besieged him. Looks like in these people's eyes, I've already become a great treasure. Thinking of the black dragon tokens on him, Mo Qingyun laughed self-deprecatingly, understanding why these people besieged him. Figuring out his situation, Mo Qingyun simply stopped rushing and took the initiative to kill those people. He said, "Fine, since you guys want to fight, I'll play with you guys properly. When I'm satisfied with killing, I'll continue on my way." Mo Qingyun's figure moved, arriving in front of a group of people and starting a massacre. Chapter 2737. This guy is a bloodthirsty demon. Quick, run. You can't kill me. My big brother is an inner disciple of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. I'm the young lord of the Gua clan. If you kill me, the Gua clan won't let you off. Threatening words came out from the mouths of the crowd. Unfortunately, Mo Qingyun wasn't affected by their threats at all. He continued his massacre. Under Mo Qingyun's massacre, those people besieging him were quickly driven back by him. After a round of massacre, black dragon tokens floated around Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun raised his hand, and all the black dragon tokens floating in the air flew into his hand. 217. Counting the black dragon tokens in his hand, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "It's a little less than I thought. I originally thought there were 300. To obtain 200 black dragon tokens, one had to kill 200 people. Yet, Mo Qingyun still thought it was too little. If anyone else heard this, they would definitely be scared out of their wit." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He continued walking forward, going deeper and deeper into the black dragon devil cave. The deeper they went, the stronger the demonic beasts in the black dragon den became. However, the demonic beasts stopped growing after reaching the quasi-universe realm. It seems like there's a limit to the difficulty of this test. When Mo Qingyun discovered that the demonic beast's strength was no longer increasing, he gained a certain level of comprehension. Shortly after, he quickened his pace and rushed towards the end of the Black Dragon Den. Outside the Black Dragon Den, the crowd stood nervously. "Grandmaster Bien Sun, that brat hasn't come out yet. Could he have met with some mishap?" Liang Huanqing, who was standing beside Bien Sun, sneered when he saw that Mo Qingyun hadn't come out yet. When Liang Qingyin came out, he told Liang Huanqing about Liang Qingxing's plan. Therefore, Liang Huanqing felt that Mo Qingyun hadn't come out yet because he had been crippled by Liang Qingxing. Hearing Liang Huanqing's words, Bien Sun's expression didn't change. He calmly said, Liang Huanqing, you don't have to be too proud. Liang Qingxing also didn't come out. The possibility that he met with a mishap is greater. Although he wasn't sure why Mo Qingyun hadn't come out yet, Bien Sun wasn't worried. Based on his understanding of Mo Qingyun, a test of this level was nothing difficult for Mo Qingyun. I'm not worried about Qing Xing's strength. It won't be difficult for him to pass the test. Towards Bien Sun's counterattack, Liang Huanqing had a faint smile on his face. He was not worried about Liang Qingxing's safety at all. Hearing Liang Huanqing's words, Bien Sun didn't bother arguing with him. Instead, he turned to look at the entrance of the Black Dragon Cave. Under everyone's watchful eyes, one person after another left the demon's denver. Their faces were filled with fear and trepidation. Judging from their reactions, it seemed like they had suffered a great shock in the Black Dragon Den. Seeing these people's reactions, everyone was puzzled. They were curious about what had happened in the Black Dragon Denver. Soon after, everyone began to ask these people what had happened in the Black Dragon Denver. In response to everyone's questions, these people didn't hide anything and told them the truth. What? He killed hundreds of people by himself? This brat is really audacious. Isn't he afraid of the various factions taking revenge? How dare he kill people from my Hong clan? I'll tear him to pieces. After hearing about Mo Qingyun's deeds, the various factions had different attitude. When the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect's elders heard about Mo Qingyun's actions, their eyes lit up. This brat's way of doing things is similar to the demonic path's overlords. Who knows, this brat might be a true demon. He might even become a demon emperor in the future. No matter what you say, to be able to slaughter 100 people by himself, this kind of battle prowess is terrifying. If we accept this brat into our sect, we should focus on nurturing him. The few elders of the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect were talking about it with admiration. It was obvious that Mo Qingyun had left a good impression in their hearts. If Mo Qingyun knew that he had left a good impression on the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect's elders because he had killed hundreds of people, his feelings would be complicated. Under everyone's waiting, Mo Qingyun walked out of the Black Dragon Denver. It's him. He's the one who killed everyone. He actually made it to the end. This brat's strength is terrifying. It seems like he's the only person in the past 1,000 years to come out of the Black Dragon Denver. It's not strange for him to make it to the end after killing hundreds of people by himself. The moment Mo Qingyun walked out of the Black Dragon Den, everyone was shocked. Seeing Mo Qingyun leave the Black Dragon Den, Liang Qingyun's eyes narrowed. He felt a strong sense of unease. Qingxing went to deal with him and hasn't come out yet. But he left the Black Dragon Denver. Did something happen to Qingxing? When this thought appeared in his mind, Liang Qingyun's expression trembled. He felt a lingering fear. If it had been him, he would most likely have died under Mo Qingyun's sword as well. Guessing that Liang Qingxing might have met with misfortune, Liang Qingyun's face tightened. He said to Liang Huanqing, "Family head, this brat left the Black Dragon Den, but Qingxing didn't come out. He might have met with misfortune." What? Qingxing met with misfortune? Could it be that he did it? Hearing Liang Qingyun's words, Liang Huanqing's face was filled with shock. Then, he looked at Mo Qingyun with a sinister gaze. Liang Qingxing was one of the 2 geniuses of the Liang family. Now that he had died in Mo Qingyun's hands, this grudge couldn't be forgotten. Seeing Liang Huanqing's expression, Bien Sun sneered. "Family head Liang, it seems like I was right. Liang Qingxing did meet with misfortune." "Humph." Liang Huanqing snorted. Then, his expression turned even uglier. He emitted a strong killing intent. However, he was like the others. Due to the presence of the elders of the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect, he didn't dare to act rashly against Mo Qingyun. In the face of everyone's hateful gazes, Mo Qingyun walked towards the group of people who had passed the test. Seeing Mo Qingyun approach, those people who had escaped from Mo Qingyun's hands all revealed terrified expressions. Following that, they distanced themselves from Mo Qingyun and put on a fearful expression. Just now, you gave me the black dragon token. Now you're giving up your place. You're too polite. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun mocked them and sat down cross-legged on the spot. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the elders in charge of the test exchanged glances and nodded their heads in admiration. Mo Qingyun's performance made them feel very satisfied. This brat's temperament is simply born for the demonic Tao. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the middle-aged man in a black robe praised and walked forward. Chapter 2738. Second place, Mi Yao. Third place, Taihan. Fourth place, Diao Qingxue. 11th place, Liang Qingyin. Names were called out one by one and their results were announced. As the rankings were read out, everyone looked at Mo Qingyun when the first place was not announced. If nothing went wrong, the first place should be Mo Qingyun. First place, Mo Qingyun. Under everyone's gaze, the black-robed elder announced Mo Qingyun's result. Although they had guessed Mo Qingyun's results, they were still dissatisfied when they heard the black-robed elder's announcement. That kid wasn't the first to come out. What right does he have to get first place? That's right. I don't agree with him getting first place. I don't think he can even get into the top 10. That kid's methods are vicious and cruel. He should be disqualified. Words of protest came out from everyone's mouth. All of you, shut up. Seeing everyone's reaction, the black-robed elder shouted coldly, "It's not up to you to tell us how to evaluate the rankings. If you're not satisfied with our methods, you can leave the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect." The black-robed elder's strong attitude immediately shut everyone up. They did not dare to have the slightest bit of dissatisfaction. Seeing that everyone had shut up, the black-robed elder glanced at everyone and said in a disdainful tone, "All of you, get your facts straight. The Supreme Harmony Demon Sect is a demonic sect. Here we only talk about victory, defeat, and strength. There are no rules like the righteous path." Hearing the black-robed elder's words, everyone obediently shut up. They did not dare to have the slightest bit of dissatisfaction. Demonic cultivators did things according to their whims. They did not talk about righteousness or empty words. Wanting to use righteousness and morality to force the black-robed elder to punish Mo Qingyun was definitely not going to work. After expressing his attitude to everyone, the black-robed elder walked towards Mo Qingyun and said with a faint smile, "Kid, let me see how many black dragon tokens you've snatched." Hearing the black-robed elder's words, everyone was interested. They wanted to know how many people Mo Qingyun had killed. "All right." Mo Qingyun nodded and waved his hand. Then, black dragon tokens were thrown out one after another, floating in front of Mo Qingyun. "The number is a bit low, only a little over 200. After taking out the black dragon token, Mo Qingyun explained to the black-robed old man in an ashamed tone. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the participants of the assessment could not help but shudder. After killing over 200 people, Mo Qingyun actually felt that it was too little. This guy was too ruthless. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the black-robed old man and the others were stunned. They were shocked by Mo Qingyun's words. Their gazes towards Mo Qingyun immediately softened. It's fine. You're already the first in 1,000 years to have such a performance. Just do your best after entering the sect." "Enter the sect? Don't tell me I don't have to participate in the second round?" Hearing the black-robed old man's words, Mo Qingyun's expression froze. He could not help but ask. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the black-robed old man nodded and said, "Because of your outstanding performance, I'll make an exception for you and directly recruit you as a disciple of the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect." Mo Qingyun directly became a disciple. Hearing such a result, everyone was shocked. They were unable to accept the situation. They had fought so hard and went through so many rounds of competition, but they might not even be able to enter the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. Emo Qinyun, on the other hand, was directly recruited after just one round of assessment. The gap between them was simply too great. Elder, this kid is vicious and ruthless. We can't recruit him for our own use. That's right. Even if he passed the first round, he might not be able to pass the second round. Elder, please reconsider and give everyone a fair assessment. The people from the various forces were unwilling to give up and tried to persuade the black-robed old man. Seeing the reactions of the people from the various forces, the black-robed old man's face darkened. He snorted and said, "In front of me, all of you better keep your thoughts to yourself. I made an exception for Emo Qinyun to enter the sect for the sake of your people." Hearing the black-robed old man's words, the people from the various forces looked at each other. They did not understand what the black-robed old man meant. While everyone was hesitating, the corner of Emo Qinyun's mouth curled up. He sneered and said, "Elder, please let me participate in the second round of assessment. Just now they questioned my first place. I want to let them see with their own eyes if I have the right to be first place." The black-robed old man and the others were stunned when they heard Emo Qinyun's words. They did not expect him to continue participating in the assessment. "Have you thought it through?" The black-robed old man pondered for a while and confirmed with Emo Qinyun. Hearing the black-robed old man's words, Emo Qinyun nodded firmly and said, "Elder, if I kill all the people in the assessment, will I be considered the first person recruited?" Kill all the people in the assessment. Knowing Emo Qinyun's thoughts, even the black-robed old man and the others could not help but tremble in fear. Emo Qinyun's thoughts had frightened them. Since the establishment of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect, they had found countless demon cultivators. However, there was no one like Emo Qinyun. Yes. After calming down, the black-robed old man nodded. After getting the answer from the black-robed old man, Emo Qinyun smiled faintly and said to the people participating in the second round of assessment, "Everyone, I hope that you will not hold back in the assessment later. Otherwise, my results will be questioned again." As Emo Qinyun spoke, a cold killing intent emitted from his body. Under the envelopment of this killing intent, the people from the various forces were so frightened that they trembled. At this moment, the feeling that Emo Qinyun gave them was that of a hungry beast. If they encountered Emo Qinyun, they would be torn to pieces by Emo Qinyun. Elder, Emo Qinyun's strength is obvious to all. He should pass the assessment directly. That's right. He is too strong. It is unfair for him to participate in the assessment with us. The first place of this year's assessment will definitely be Emo Qinyun. We have no objections. One by one, the participants pleaded with the black-robed old man. They had no choice but to plead. They were afraid. Seeing their reactions, the black-robed old man smiled with satisfaction and said, family heads, do you have anything else to say?" Faced with the black-robed old man's question, the various forces fell silent. They could already see that it was not a good thing for Emo Qinyun to continue participating in the assessment. Soon after, Emo Qinyun shook his head and no longer questioned Emo Qinyun's results. Seeing the reactions of the various forces, Emo Qinyun pretended to be in a difficult position and said, "Families have their rules and sects have their rules. I think that we should treat everyone equally and not make an exception for me. I should be allowed to continue participating in the assessment." Hearing Emo Qinyun's words, the others wanted to cry. This was too much of a bully. Chapter 2739. This kid, seeing Emo Qinyun's actions, the black-robed elder and the others smiled helplessly. At the same time, they looked at the various powers with sympathy in their eyes. It was a big mistake for them to offend Emo Qinyun. This old man is the head of the Cha family. I hope young Master Emo can forgive me for offending you just now. Cha Mingde stooped his body and walked slowly to Emo Qinyun. He took out a golden pearl and said, "This is the metal stone spirit pearl that is abundant in the stellar sky continent. This old man will use it to express his apology. I hope Mo Qingyun can kindly accept it." Seeing the old man's actions, the surrounding people all revealed shocked expressions. The goldstone spiritual bead could not only be used to refine elixirs, but also to refine weapons. It was a priceless treasure. Chamingda gave it to Mo Qingyun. It had to be said that Chamingda had put in a lot of effort. Everyone was very clear about Chamingda's intention in doing this. He wanted to show his goodwill to Mo Qingyun and let Mo Qingyun let go of the Cha family's participants in the second round of the assessment. It was a good deal to exchange a rare goldstone spiritual bead for the life of the Cha family's genius junior. This old fox actually used this to bribe Mo Qingyun. This is a good way to save the junior's life. If so, what are we waiting for? Mr. Mo, this is the sea anemone crystal dew from the sea demon continent. Please accept it. This is the ancestral treasure of the Tan family. Please accept it, Mr. Mo. Seeing Chamingda's actions, the other forces could not sit still. All of a sudden, the leaders of the various forces sent gifts to Mo Qingyun. Seeing such a scene, not only were the juniors stunned, but the black-robed elder and the others were also stunned. Mo Qingyun, as a disciple who participated in the assessment, was fawned upon by so many leaders of the forces. He was the first person in history. This brat is indeed not simple. He actually took care of these fellows like this. After a brief moment of shock, the black-robed old man smiled faintly. He valued Mo Qingyun even more. When the other elders heard this, they all nodded in agreement. Regardless of the results of the assessment, Mo Qingyun could be proud of himself for being able to achieve this. Then, under the envious gazes of the crowd, Mo Qingyun collected all kinds of treasures. "Everyone, you're too courteous. This is really making things difficult for me." After accepting everyone's gifts, Mo Qingyun exchanged some pleasantries with them before cupping his fists at the black-robed old man. "Elder, as a disciple of the Supreme Harmony Devil sect, I should be thinking for the sect. It's indeed inappropriate for me to kill a disciple of the sect. I've decided to make an exception and accept your recruitment." Seeing Mo Qingyun's behavior, the black-robed old man shook his head helplessly, but he didn't blame him. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had made his decision, the black-robed old man turned his head and said to a white-robed old man beside him, "Elder Ma Kun, bring Mo Qingyun into the sect and register his identity." "Okay." Elder Ma Kun nodded and beckoned to Mo Qingyun. He smiled faintly and said, "Little guy, come with me." "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded and followed. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of a huge palace under Ma Kun's lead. After bringing Mo Qingyun into the palace, the white-robed old man guided him through the registration process. Seeing how Mo Qingyun was treated, the disciples in the palace all revealed expressions of admiration and respect. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun's background was definitely not simple to be guided by an elder personally. Soon after, they were extremely curious about Mo Qingyun's identity. Who is this kid? He actually got Elder Ma Kun to personally guide him. Has the disciple assessment ended? Why is he the only one here? It seems like his identity is definitely not simple. We have to be more careful in the future. The disciples in the palace whispered and pointed at Mo Qingyun. Under everyone's gazes, Mo Qingyun finished registering his identity. "I'll bring you to the disciples' residence." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had finished registering his identity, Elder Ma Kun instructed and walked out of the palace. Hearing Elder Ma Kun's words, Mo Qingyun followed closely behind him. After a while, under Elder Ma Kun's lead, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of a row of buildings. These buildings were built between the mountain peaks in the form of a staircase that extended towards the inner part of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. These are the 108,000 Earth Demon buildings, which are also the residences of the outer sect disciples. Pointing at the buildings, Elder Ma Kun introduced them and said, "Although these are the residences of the outer sect disciples, they are also the staircase that leads to the inner sect of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. If you don't want to be stepped on, you have to continue moving upwards. When your ranking is higher, the number of people who can step on you to get to the top will decrease. When you become an inner sect disciple, you will be able to live in the 36,000 sky demon palaces. At that time, you will not be stepped on." After listening to Elder Ma Kun's explanation, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect's situation. The hierarchy here was extremely obvious. If one's strength was insufficient, they would be stepped on. Even the most basic residents would become a stepping stone for others. This situation was too realistic and cruel. It seems like if I don't want to be stepped on, I have to become an inner sect disciple as soon as possible. With this thought, Mo Qingyun made a decision. He wanted to become an inner sect disciple as soon as possible. Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, Elder Ma Kun nodded his head in satisfaction. He knew that Mo Qingyun had already understood. "Elder, thank you for your guidance. This disciple will definitely not disappoint." Understanding Elder Ma Kun's hint, Mo Qingyun cupped his hands in thanks and took out the gifts he had received. "Elder Ma Kun, this is the gift that this disciple has just received. This disciple is using this gift to present it to Buddha. Take a look and see if there is anything that you need. Also, you can help the other elders choose some gift. Treat them as a meeting gift from this disciple." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Elder Ma Kun smiled and nodded his head. His meaning was self-evident. He was praising Mo Qingyun. "You're very sensible and smart. In that case, this old man will not stand on ceremony." Elder Ma Kun nodded his head with a smile. After scanning the gifts, he picked a few and accepted them. "I will hand these things over to Elder Meng Luo and the others when I get back. Since everything has been arranged properly, this old man will not stay any longer. If you need anything, use this to summon me." After Elder Ma Kun finished speaking, he took out a communication jade slip and handed it over to Mo Qingyun. "Safe journey, Elder." After receiving the communication jade slip, Mo Qingyun bowed and sent Elder Ma Kun off with his eyes. After seeing Elder Ma Kun off, Mo Qingyun took out his identity token and checked which room he was staying in. Earth Demon Tower, 103,157. After taking a look at his number, Mo Qingyun rushed to his room without stopping. Chapter 2740. When Mo Qingyun entered his residence, news about him spread in the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. When everyone heard about his deeds, they were all extremely shocked and felt a little incredulous. A disciple in the entrance examination was actually fawned over by various major forces. This was truly inconceivable. Of course, while everyone felt inconceivable, they were more envious and jealous in their hearts. Especially the forces that took out treasures to fawn over Mo Qingyun. The other juniors in the Supreme Harmony Demon sect were even more unwilling in their hearts. A disciple who had just entered the sect actually forced their families to take out treasures to fawn over him. They were unable to tolerate this kind of thing. If they did not teach Mo Qingyun a lesson and snatch back the treasures that were given out, how could they continue to hang around in the Supreme Harmony Demon sect? Immediately, these people inquired about Mo Qingyun's background and planned how to deal with Mo Qingyun. After some inquiries, these people found out that Mo Qingyun did not have a powerful background, so their concerns were put down. Not long later, these people arrived outside Mo Qingyun's building and shouted loudly into the building. "Kid called Mo Qingyun, get out here right now. Actually forced my clan to give out treasures. Aren't you afraid of losing your life to take them? If you still don't come out, we'll go straight in." Clamoring voices entered Mo Qingyun's ears one after another. Hearing the words outside the building, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He was not surprised. It was really strange that these guys could swallow their anger. Forget it, I'll take this opportunity to challenge them one by one and directly vie for the first building of the Earth Demon building. Mo Qingyun thought in his heart and had a plan. He lifted his feet and walked out of the building. Soon, Mo Qingyun saw a large group of people surrounding his building so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Sweeping his gaze across the crowd, Mo Qingyun's mouth curled into a cold smile and said, "I've accepted the gifts from your various clans. On the account of these gifts, I'll give you a chance to live. If you kowtow and admit your mistakes now, I cannot be calculative with you." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people were stupefied. Did they hear wrongly? Mo Qingyun had just asked them to kowtow and admit their mistakes. Did this guy not understand the situation? This brat is too arrogant. I can't take it anymore. Brat, follow us to the Devil Vanquishing Valley. I want to fight you. I want to challenge you. If I lose, I'll exchange my ranking in the Earth Demon Tower. One by one, words of challenge after another came out from the mouths of the crowd. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. He laughed and said, "Since you insist on seeking death, I can only fulfill your wish. Lead the way." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he waved his arm and placed his hands behind his back. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, everyone was even more displeased. Mo Qingyun's current posture did not look like he was going to a duel at all. He looked more like an emperor going out on a journey. As for these people, they had become the bodyguards who protected Mo Qingyun's identity. What are you waiting for? Are you afraid? Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw that everyone was not moving. He tried to provoke them. Everyone was already furious. After being provoked by Mo Qingyun, they immediately became even angrier. Soon after, they no longer hesitated and immediately led the way in front. In a short while, Mo Qingyun arrived at the Devil Vanquishing Valley under the guidance of the crowd. The Devil Vanquishing Valley was very spacious. It was like an ancient battlefield that gave off a gloomy and cold feeling. Mo Qingyun sensed that there were still some evil spirits lingering around the Devil Vanquishing Valley. If nothing goes wrong, these evil spirits will launch a sneak attack while everyone is fighting. Mo Qingyun observed the evil spirits for a while and understood what was going on. Hence, he raised his guard against them. Although the strength of these evil spirits was only at the celestial domain grade, a sneak attack would still be troublesome. After checking the surrounding terrain, Mo Qingyun did not think too much and flew into the Devil Vanquishing Valley. Which one of you wants to go first? Mo Qingyun stood in the middle of the Devil Vanquishing Valley with a cold and arrogant expression as he questioned the people around him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding onlookers looked at each other in dismay. They actually showed some hesitation. Mo Qingyun's display of strength was too strong, so it made them somewhat apprehensive. As everyone watched, a young man walked out of the crowd and arrived in front of Mo Qingyun. Half-step universe grade. When he sensed the other party's cultivation base, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and said, "You are no match for me. I will give you a chance. Find a few more helpers and come at me together." When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, the young man's face darkened immediately, as if he had been greatly humiliated. "No need." The young man shouted angrily and took the initiative to attack. The young man's figure flashed and slashed at Mo Qingyun with his blade, blasting out a blade light that was as imposing as a tiger. When the blade light blasted towards Mo Qingyun, it carried with it the power of the law, making its aura even more domineering. You actually comprehended the space-shattering technique. Unfortunately, it is still not enough. Facing the blade light blasted out by the young man, Mo Qingyun shook his head in disappointment and took out the Nine-Bull Divine Sword. With the Nine-Bull Divine Sword in his hand, Mo Qingyun casually swung it and blasted out a golden blade light. The golden blade light's aura was like a rainbow, and with an even more domineering aura, it met the blade light head-on. Pucci. Facing the attack of the golden blade light, the blade light was instantly defeated and dissipated in midair. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were shocked and immediately looked at Mo Qingyun seriously. Although Li Zhan is only a half-step universe grade, he has comprehended the space-shattering technique. His strength is not to be underestimated. With Li Zhan's strength, his full-strength attack was easily defeated by Mo Qingyun. This kid is very strong. Fortunately, Li Zhan took the lead and tested his strength. The surrounding disciples felt a lingering fear. Just as fear rose in their hearts, the golden blade light's speed suddenly increased and arrived in front of Li Zhan in the blink of an eye. Looking at the rapidly approaching blade light, Li Zhan's expression twitched and his face instantly turned pale. He said in shock, Space compression technique. He actually comprehended the power of the law. This discovery frightened Li Zhan quite a bit. It was something he never thought of. In a panic, Li Zhan did not dare to hesitate and immediately dodged to the side. Pucci. Although Li Zhan tried his best to dodge, he was still slashed by the blade light, and one of his arms was chopped off. With one arm crippled, Li Zhan screamed and fled out of the demon Extinction Valley. When Li Zhan was escaping, a group of evil spirits pounced on him and launched a frenzied attack on him. Facing the sneak attack of the evil spirits, Li Zhan was suddenly in a sorry state. He used all his strength to escape. Seeing Li Zhan's miserable state, the surrounding people's expressions immediately became solemn. At this moment, they suddenly realized that they seemed to have underestimated Mo Qingyun. Ignoring the feelings of others, Mo Qingyun's expression was indifferent. He looked around and said, "Who's next? Come out quickly." Chapter 2741. Everyone looked at each other for a while. Then, one of them walked out and arrived in front of Mo Qingyun in a flash. This person's cultivation was slightly stronger than Li Zhan's. He had reached the quasi-universe realm. Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry to make a move. He sized up this person and said with a disinterested look, "It's really boring to fight like this. How about we make a bet?" "How do you want to bet?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, this person was curious. Under the other person's curious gaze, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and waved. He took out the gifts he received and said, "These are the gifts I received. If you defeat me, you can choose one of them." Looking at the things Mo Qingyun took out, a greedy look immediately appeared in the person's eyes. He was very clear about the value of these items in Mo Qingyun's hands. Ignoring the other person's reaction, Mo Qingyun suddenly changed the topic and said, "However, if you lose, we have to exchange our Earth Demon Towers." Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, the person hesitated for a moment before making a difficult decision. He said, "All right, I accept your request. However, if you want to stay in my Earth Demon Tower, it will depend on your ability." After Zhiqi finished speaking, his figure flashed and he took the lead to attack Mo Qingyun. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that the direction of Zhiqi's punch was not facing him. After a moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun showed a look of understanding. He understood Zhiqi's intention. So it's the law of space deviation. After knowing Zhiqi's intention, Mo Qingyun did not dodge and immediately took out the sword energy. A fierce aura gathered outside Mo Qingyun's body and turned into sword energy shadows. After the sword energy was formed, it surrounded Mo Qingyun and blocked the fist shadows that attacked him. Puff puff puff. The sword energy bombarded the fist shadows and made a series of muffled sounds, weakening the fist shadows bit by bit. Not long after, Zhiqi's full-powered attack was shattered by the sword aura. What a powerful sword aura! Seeing the power of the sword aura, Zhiqi's expression trembled, and a hint of shock appeared in his eyes. Emo Qingyun's performance really shocked him quite a bit. It's my turn to fight back. After neutralizing Zhiqi's attack, Emo Qingyun no longer held back and immediately launched a counterattack. Emo Qingyun swung the 9-oxen divine sword, blasting out a sharp sword light, cutting through the sky and slashing towards Zhiqi. The speed of the sword light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived in front of Zhiqi, causing him to fall into a situation where he could not dodge. What a fast sword! This is the law of space compression. Seeing this situation, Zhiqi did not dare to hesitate and immediately used the law of space deviation. Under the power of the spatial deviation law, the direction of the sword light that was heading towards Zhiqi was slightly deviated. Unfortunately, Zhiqi did not have a deep understanding of the law of spatial deviation, so he could not change the direction of the sword light by much. After changing the direction of the sword light, Zhiqi did not hesitate and punched towards the sword light again. A fist shadow like a wild dragon blasted out from Zhiqi's fist and met the approaching sword light. However, to Zhiqi's surprise, the sword light directly penetrated his fist shadow's defense. It penetrated. Seeing this strange scene in front of him, Zhiqi's pupils shrank. He had to admit that the scene in front of him was really too unbelievable. While Zhiqi was in a daze, the sword light blasted his body and directly cut his body into pieces. After being seriously injured by Emo Qingyun's sword, Zhiqi did not dare to hesitate and immediately fled towards the crowd. As Zhiqi's reaction was fast enough, he was not attacked by the evil spirits in the process of fleeing. That kid's strength has reached such a level. After fleeing back to the crowd, Zhiqi's face was filled with lingering fear and a strong sense of lingering fear. If he had not reacted fast enough, once he was surrounded by the evil spirits, he was afraid that he would have been doomed. Looking at Zhiqi who came to their side, the surrounding people were shocked and could not recover for a long time. Even Zhiqi lost, and he was defeated by a single sword. That kid's strength is really unfathomable. In my opinion, that kid's strength can be ranked in the top 50,000 of the Earth Demon Tower. A new disciple's strength squeezed into the top 50,000. This kind of performance is quite shocking. Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, everyone was shocked. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Emo Qingyun looked at Zhiqi and said, "Running so fast, are you trying to cheat? Hand over your Earth Demon Tower token." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zhiqi showed an unwilling expression and said, "This is my Earth Demon Tower token, ranked 91,422. After Zhiqi finished speaking, he took out a token and threw it at Emo Qingyun. Seeing Zhiqi throw the token over, Emo Qingyun immediately raised his hand and caught the token. After getting Zhiqi's token, Emo Qingyun looked at the others and said in a heroic manner, "Next, if anyone wants to come and fight, don't dawdle." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, someone immediately walked out and flew in front of Emo Qingyun. The appearance of this person immediately caused a commotion, causing everyone's faces to be filled with shock. Obviously, his status among the outer disciples was a little unusual. "I didn't expect Ingshi to fight. This guy is a ruthless person. Ingshi has only been in the sect for 10 years, but he's already ranked in the top 50,000. Ordinary people can't compare to him." Emo Qingyun is in trouble this time. He met a difficult opponent. Seeing the appearance of the young man, everyone's face was filled with shock. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Ingshi said with a cold expression, "Ingshi, rank 10,087 in the Earth Demon Tower, let me fight you. Ranked in the top 50,000, he's a good opponent." Hearing Ingshi's Earth Demon Tower ranking, Emo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction. Rising by 40,000 in one go could save him a lot of trouble and speed up his plan. While Emo Qingyun was thinking, he also sensed Ingshi's cultivation, which was also in the quasi-universe realm. However, judging from his aura, Ingshi was slightly weaker than Zhiqi. It seems that his comprehension of the law of space should be much stronger than Zhiqi. After sensing Ing Shi's cultivation, Mo Qingyun's heart jumped and he immediately guessed the reason. However, he didn't care about it and didn't panic. Even if Ing Shi's comprehension of the law was deeper, it was still far from enough in front of him. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, although Ing Shi's comprehension of the law was deeper, he still hadn't completely comprehended it. Be careful. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ing Shi didn't say anything else and immediately attacked Mo Qingyun. Seeing Ing Shi attack, everyone's expression tensed up. Chapter 2742. As soon as Ing Shi finished speaking, he clenched his right hand, and a long spear appeared in his grasp. With the long spear in his hand, Ing Shi quickly brandished it, sending out dragon-shaped spear lights. These dragon-shaped spear lights appeared and disappeared in a flash, instantly arriving in front of Mo Qingyun. The law of space penetration. Seeing Ing Shi's performance, Mo Qingyun's eyes narrowed. He recognized the law of space that Ing Shi had comprehended and thought to himself, no wonder his ranking is good. It turns out that he comprehended the law of space penetration, which greatly increased his combat strength. Knowing that Ing Shi had comprehended the law of space, Mo Qingyun's doubts were resolved. Then, he stopped thinking about it and activated the sword energy to block the incoming dragon-shaped spear lights. Under Mo Qingyun's control, the sword energy immediately flew in all directions, blocking the incoming dragon-shaped spear lights. Bang bang bang, a series of loud bangs rang out. Ing Shi's all-out attack was easily neutralized by Mo Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Ing Shi's expression trembled, his eyes filled with shock. After exchanging blows with Mo Qingyun, he finally realized how powerful Mo Qingyun was. He suddenly felt that he was powerless in front of Mo Qingyun. While Ing Shi was shocked, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He said, "It seems that you are no different from them. You can't even warm me up. One move is enough to finish you." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he swung his arm and slashed at Ing Shi. Under Mo Qingyun's swing, the divine nine-oxen sword immediately bloomed with dazzling light, blasting out an imposing sword light. The sword light blasted out, turning into a stream of light and arriving in front of Ing Shi in the blink of an eye. Facing the incoming sword light, Ing Shi's heart trembled. He realized that something was wrong. This is the complete law of space compression. He has comprehended the law of space compression. Discovering Mo Qingyun's use of the law, Ing Shi immediately panicked, fear appearing on his face. Mo Qingyun, who had comprehended the complete law of space, was definitely not someone he could compare to. Space overlapped. While Ing Shi was panicking, he no longer dared to hold back and unleashed another law of space. Under the power of the law of spatial overlap, the space around Ing Shi trembled, and some weak distortions appeared. As the space twisted and overlapped, the direction of the sword light that was slashing towards him changed. Seeing Ing Shi's performance, the surrounding disciples all revealed shocked expressions. Two types of spatial laws. Ing Shi has actually comprehended two types of spatial laws. This guy really hid his strength well. It turns out that he didn't use his full strength against Su Mang last time. Between Ing Shi, who has comprehended two types of spatial laws, and Mo Qingyun, who is stronger? After seeing Ing Shi's performance, the audience became more excited about the fight between Ing Shi and Mo Qingyun. Under the nervous gazes of the crowd, the sword light that was slashing towards Ing Shi brushed past his shoulder. That was close. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's sword, Ing Shi took a deep breath and felt a lingering fear. He knew very well that if he was hit by the sword light, his fight with Mo Qingyun would be over. After calming down the shock in his heart, Ing Shi did not dare to hesitate any longer and immediately launched a counterattack against Mo Qingyun. 1,000 dragons soaring to the sky slash. Ingshi held the spear with both hands and poured a terrifying amount of saint power into it. Under Ingshi's attack, a deafening dragon roar erupted from his long spear. Immediately, a surging dragon shadow spear light flew out like a dragon emerging from the sea. The dragon shadow spear light flew out and flashed in the air, instantly arriving in front of Mo Qingyun. Sword energy rise. Break. In the face of the dragon shadow sword light, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. He immediately urged the sword energy to meet the attack. Soon, a series of sword energy soared into the sky and collided with the dragon shadow spear light. Bang bang bang, under the collision of the sword energy and the spear light, a loud bang immediately erupted. At the same time, a terrifying storm of force erupted in the air. As they watched the apocalyptic storm, the surrounding disciples revealed looks of awe and veneration. The strength displayed by Mo Qingyun and Ingshi had greatly exceeded their expectations. After a while, under the shocked eyes of the crowd, Ingshi's attack was blocked again. Although your performance has surprised me, it's time for the battle to end. After blocking Ingshi's attack again, Mo Qingyun's face gradually turned cold. He did not want to be entangled with Ingshi any longer. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he swung his sword and slashed out an even fiercer sword light. The sword radiance shot out from the giant ox divine sword like a flood dragon, heading straight for Ingshi. In the blink of an eye, the sword light was in front of Ingshi and crashed forward. Spatial overlap. Facing the sword light, Ingshi did not dare to be careless. He immediately urged the law of spatial overlap to dodge. However, what shocked him was that as soon as his law of spatial overlap was released, it was dissolved by an even purer energy. Spatial overlap. He also comprehended the law of spatial overlap. Sensing the power of the law of spatial overlap, Ingshi immediately recognized it. His eyes widened as he looked at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun's performance truly shocked him to the core. In his panic, Ingshi forgot to dodge and was hit by the sword light. Puchi! Under the attack of the sword light, Ingshi's right arm was cut off. Flowers instantly dyed his clothes red. After being hit by the sword light, Ingshi was immediately sent flying. His aura weakened by a few degrees. As Ingshi was sent flying, he urged the law of spatial overlap to isolate the evil spirits that were near him. After blocking the evil spirit's sneak attack, Ingshi's figure flashed and retreated to the center of the crowd. Good move. I accept my loss wholeheartedly. This is my Earth Demon Tower token. After retreating to the center of the crowd, Ingshi threw out his tower token with a dark expression. Seeing that Ingshi recognized the tower token, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and caught it. He said, "You're not weak. You're much stronger than the previous two. Unfortunately, you're still a little lacking in front of me." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ingshi's expression flickered, but he did not refute. Although Mo Qingyun's words were unpleasant, he was telling the truth. In the exchange just now, he seemed to have taken the initiative. In fact, it was because Mo Qingyun had not used his full strength. If Mo Qingyun had used his full strength, he might not even have had the chance to attack. Under Ingshi's complicated gaze, Mo Qingyun scanned the crowd and said, "Who else wants to fight? Come on out." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, someone flew out and landed in front of him. The appearance of this person immediately shocked the surrounding people, and their expressions changed one by one. Space realm. Finally, a decent one. Looking at the people who came to fight this time, Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile. Chapter 2743. Lan Kuo actually came. Mo Qingyun is really attractive. He and LV Douyin are the two super geniuses of the outer sect. I heard that Lan Kuo's ranking in the Earth Demon Tower has entered the top 10,000 not long ago. If Mo Qingyun defeats Lan Kuo, wouldn't his ranking in the Earth Demon Tower enter the top 10,000? If that's the case, Mo Qingyun will be the first person in the Supreme Demon sect for the past 10,000 years. Recognizing the man who had challenged Mo Qingyun, the surrounding people were all shocked. Under everyone's respectful gazes, the man said with a cold expression, "I am Lan Kuaishou, ranked 9,820th in the Earth Demon Tower. Do you dare to fight with me?" 10,000? Hearing Lan Kuaishou's ranking, Mo Qingyun's face lit up and a bright smile appeared on his face. As long as he defeated the man in front of him, his ranking in the Earth Demon Tower would enter the top 10,000. Next, it would be much easier for him to raise his ranking in the Earth Demon Tower. It's only 10,000. Why wouldn't I dare to accept the challenge? Mo Qingyun smiled nonchalantly and said in a bold tone, "Don't say that you are only ranked 10,000 in the Earth Demon Tower. Even if you were from the Sky Demon Palace, I would still dare to fight you." Lan Kuaishou was stunned when he saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Then, he sneered disdainfully. As far as he was concerned, Mo Qingyun's words were nothing but big talk. Every inner sect disciple was at the universe realm. Ordinary universe realm experts couldn't compare to them. No matter how strong Mo Qingyun was, he was still far from being a match for a true universe realm expert. Moreover, an inner sect disciple with a universe realm cultivation wasn't comparable to an ordinary universe realm expert. There's no point in boasting. Take 10 of my moves first. After sizing up Mo Qingyun, Lan Kuaishou no longer hesitated and took the initiative to attack Mo Qingyun. As soon as Lan Kuaishou attacked, a mysterious spatial law erupted from his body. When the space laws erupted, Mo Qingyun sensed an extremely familiar feeling. Law of spatial expansion. Knowing that Lan Kuaishou had comprehended the laws, Mo Qingyun's apprehension towards him immediately dropped to the extreme. Spatial expansion law, the increase in combat power was still rather limited. Lan Kuaishou's Earth Devil Tower ranking, being able to enter the top 10,000, was not unrelated to his cultivation. "I don't need 10 moves to deal with you." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he no longer hesitated as he rapidly approached Lan Kuaishou. As Mo Qingyun charged forward, he also continuously brandished the 9-oxen divine sword, continuously slashing out several sword light. The attack speed of the sword light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of Lan Kuaishou and slashed at him from all directions. Space expansion. Seeing the approaching sword gleam, Lan Kuaishou did not dare to be careless. He immediately released the space law to dissolve it. However, even if he released the law of space expansion, he still could not change the attack of the sword light. Spatial compression law. Seeing that the attack of the sword light did not change, Lan Kuaishou's expression trembled and his face was filled with shock. However, Lan Kuaishou was not an ordinary person. He quickly calmed the panic in his heart. Spatial overlap. A weaker power of the space law was released from Lan Kuaishou's body and changed the direction of the sword light's attack. Immediately, Lan Kuaishou narrowly avoided the attack of the sword light. Spatial deviation law. Seeing Lan Kuaishou's performance, Mo Qingyun was a little surprised. He said, "Just based on these 2 space laws, the fight between us should be over." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he was not willing to hold back anymore. His attack immediately became fierce. Space imprisonment. Mo Qingyun blasted out a palm. A domineering space law was released from his palm. Immediately, the space around Lan Kuaishou was imprisoned by a force. Space imprisonment law, and it's a complete law. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Lan Kuaishou's expression immediately trembled. His face was filled with horror. Mo Qingyun, who had comprehended 2 space laws, was unimaginably powerful. While Lan Kuaishou was still in shock, a sword light cut through the sky and blasted towards him. However, the space around him was imprisoned, leaving him no room to dodge. Helplessly, He could only watch as the sword light slashed down at him. No. No, seeing the sword light getting closer and closer, Lan Kuaishou's expression trembled and he cried out in panic. Mo Qingyun ignored Lan Kuaishou's cries and his attack did not weaken in the slightest. Then, everyone saw the sword light hit Lan Kuaishou and his physical body exploded. Lan Kuaishou's physical body was destroyed. His primordial spirit immediately escaped and flew towards the surrounding crowd. "This is my building token." Lan Kuaishou escaped into the crowd. He threw out his building token and said in a sinister voice, "I will remember today's grudge and will definitely get it back in the future." After Lan Kuaishou finished speaking, he turned into a light shadow and escaped between heaven and earth. After Lan Kuaishou left for a long time, everyone woke up from their daze and discovered that Lan Kuaishou had already been defeated. Not only was he defeated, but it was the kind of complete defeat. Mo Qingyun directly destroyed his physical body. I didn't expect that even Lan Kuaishou was defeated, and he was defeated within 3 moves. Just how powerful is this guy's strength? He comprehended 2 space laws. His true strength is probably comparable to the top 1,000 of the Earth Demon building. LV Douyin is Lan Kuaishou's lover. Now that Lan Kuaishou's physical body has been destroyed, she will definitely not let it go. LV Douyin's Earth Demon building ranking is already around 1,000. Her strength is even more powerful than Lan Kuaishou's. When LV Douyin and Mo Qingyun fight, we will be able to test out Mo Qingyun's depth. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the surrounding people were amazed. Immediately, they also understood the gap between themselves and Mo Qingyun. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's strength, no one dared to challenge him again and left the Devil Valley one after another. Seeing such a scene, Mo Qingyun revealed a disappointed expression and said, "I didn't expect that defeating Lan Kuaishou would actually scare these guys away." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. His expression was cold and solemn as he shouted to the surrounding people, "Among you, is there anyone who wants to continue the battle? If not, I will be leaving." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the people who had yet to leave all looked at each other in dismay. Everyone exchanged glances and all of them chose to remain silent, leaving the Earth Demon building with their tails between their legs. Seeing everyone's performance, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it. He got up and flew out of the Devil Valley. After Mo Qingyun left the Devil Valley, he held Lan Kuaishou's building token and headed towards Lan Kuaishou's Earth Demon building. During this process, Mo Qingyun's actions in the Devil Valley spread throughout the Supreme Harmony Devil sect. Chapter 2744. After a few hours, the disciple assessment was over. After the disciples had completed their assessment, Meng Qi and the rest returned to the sect to report on the recruitment of new disciples. When they arrived at the sect, they heard about Mo Qingyun. What? Mo Qingyun's ranking in the Earth Demon Tower has entered the top 10,000? When he heard about Mo Qingyun, Meng Qi's face was filled with shock and disbelief. The ranking in the Earth Demon Tower was a true measure of the strength of the outer sect disciples. Those who could enter the top 10,000 were basically all in the universe realm. Given Mo Qingyun's half-step universe realm cultivation, it was terrifying that he could enter the top 10,000 in the Earth Demon Tower. In just half a day, he managed to enter the top 10,000 in the Earth Demon Tower. It seems like we have underestimated him. After hearing Meng Qi's words, Ma Kun, who was beside him, was shocked. He lamented and said, "It seems like his future achievements will be even more shocking than we expected. It seems like the peace of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect will be broken because of him." Meng Qi chuckled to himself before he continued walking into the sect. When they heard Meng Qi's words, Ma Kun and the rest nodded and hurriedly followed behind him. While everyone was talking about Mo Qingyun, Emo Qingyun arrived outside the Earth Demon Tower where Lan Kuaishou was and prepared to enter the Earth Demon Tower to cultivate. At this moment, a ferocious-looking woman walked towards them. A primordial spirit sat on the lady's shoulder. It was Lan Kuaishou, who had escaped previously. "You are Emo Qingyun?" The woman glanced at Emo Qingyun and asked in a cold and indifferent tone. When he heard the lady's words, Emo Qingyun's expression remained unchanged and he nodded at her. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had admitted it, the lady did not beat around the bush and said directly, "You destroyed Lan Kuaishou's physical body, so I want to avenge him. You don't have any objections, right?" "Of course." Emo Qingyun nodded calmly at the woman's question. As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he changed his tone and said, "I don't accept meaningless challenges. If you want to take revenge, take out your bet first. I am Lu Douyin, ranked 1160 in the Earth Devil Tower. I will use my tower token as the wager." LV Douyin was not surprised by Emo Qingyun's request and answered calmly. When he heard LV Douyin's words, Emo Qingyun no longer refused and said, "When do you want to fight? Now or another day?" "Now," LV Douyin replied coldly. As soon as she finished speaking, she turned around and flew towards the direction of the Devil Valley. Seeing LV Douyin's actions, Emo Qingyun did not speak any nonsense and followed them to the Devil Extinction Valley. Emo Qingyun's only thought was to quickly raise his ranking in the Earth Demon Tower and become an inner disciple of the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. Since LV Douyin cooperated with him, he naturally would not reject. When Emo Qingyun was rushing towards the Devil Extinction Valley, the news of him battling with LV Douyin spread in the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. Subsequently, outer disciples rushed towards the Devil Extinction Valley one after another. Even the top 1,000 outer disciples in the Earth Demon Tower came to the Devil Extinction Valley to watch the battle. In their opinion, a monstrous talent like Emo Qingyun was worthy of them coming to watch the battle. "Look, that's Gung Emo who is ranked 762 in the Earth Demon Tower. I didn't expect him to come." Not only Gung Emo, Sha Man who is ranked 571 in the Earth Demon Tower is also here. "Look over there, I didn't expect him to come." Gu Hao who is ranked 100th in the Earth Demon Tower actually came to watch the battle. It seems like Emo Qingyun's reputation in the outer sect is not inferior to Gung Emo and the others. Recognizing a few disciples who were ranked at the top, the crowd could not help but sigh. Emo Qingyun immediately sensed the arrival of Gu Hao and the others. He could not help but take a few more glances at them. If he could defeat these people, it would be a good thing. Glancing at Gu Hao and the others, a faint smile appeared at the corner of Emo Qingyun's mouth. He muttered to himself, "Because of this LV Douyin, it has attracted quite a few stronger disciples. I can challenge them one by one later." Emo Qingyun muttered to himself. He did not think too much about it and looked at LV Douyin, who was in front of him. "I'll give you a chance. You make the first move." Glancing at LV Douyin, Emo Qingyun raised his hand, showing the demeanor of a master. Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, the crowd's expression became tense and they looked at LV Douyin. They wanted to see how LV Douyin would deal with Emo Qingyun's action. "All right." Under the crowd's gaze, LV Douyin did not say anything and took the initiative to attack. As soon as LV Douyin finished speaking, she took out a long whip and lashed it at Emo Qingyun crazily. Heavenly Thunder Silver Snake Sky Splitting Whip. Under LV Douyin's lashing, streaks of threatening electric arcs burst out from the long whip. When those electric arcs appeared, they bombarded Emo Qingyun, showing a domineering aura. Sword Force Rise. Facing the attack of the electric arcs, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately took out his sword force. Streaks of sharp sword force condensed around Emo Qingyun's body and blasted towards the electric arcs. Chi chi chi, the sword force blasted on the electric arcs and made a series of sounds, blocking the electric arcs' attack. Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, The crowd was shocked and their evaluation of him immediately increased. This kid's strength is indeed very strong. Looking at Mo Qingyun in the center of the Demon Valley, Gung Mo muttered to himself with a heavy expression. Shaman, who had arrived unknowingly, heard Gung Mo's words and said, "Although LV Doin's attack was just a preliminary probe, it is not something that can be blocked by ordinary people. This kid's true combat strength is comparable to the top 3,000 people in the Earth Demon Tower." Comparable to the top 3,000? Gung Mo's expression trembled as he was shocked by Shaman's words. Without waiting for Shaman to reply, a figure flashed over and said in a deep voice, 3,000 is a conservative estimate. His true strength might be even stronger. I didn't expect you to come too. Looking at the person who had arrived, Shaman's face was filled with shock and said, "Even you are here. It seems that this kid's actions have made some people unhappy. The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. His actions are too high profile, which is not a good thing." Hearing Shaman's words, Gu Hao nodded and looked at Mo Qingyun, saying, "I just don't know how he will deal with the upcoming trouble. How else can he deal with it? Naturally, he will be badly battered and be taught a lesson." Hearing Gu Hao's words, Gung Mo's face darkened as he replied with slight displeasure. Mo Qingyun's momentum was too strong, which made him feel some pressure. He was worried that Mo Qingyun would step on his head. In his opinion, if Mo Qingyun defeated LV Doin, he would be a threat to him. Chapter 2745. In the Center of the Devil Valley. It's a pity that with your strength, you still can't avenge Lan Quasho. After blocking LV Doin's wave of attacks, Mo Qingyun shook his head regretfully. His expression gradually turned cold as he said, "I've already given you a chance. You're not strong enough, so don't blame me for this." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, the aura he emitted immediately became much colder. At the same time, his attacks also became fierce, showing a strong stance. Spatial imprisonment. An astonishing spatial law blasted out from Mo Qingyun's palm, imprisoning the space around LV Doin. After imprisoning the space around LV Doin, Mo Qingyun's attack did not decrease and immediately slashed at her. Under Mo Qingyun's wave, the Nine-Bull Divine Sword immediately bloomed with dazzling light and blasted out a sharp sword light. The sword light flashed and arrived in front of LV Doin in the blink of an eye, causing her to fall into a situation where she could not dodge. Spatial imprisonment, spatial compression. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attack, LV Doin's expression trembled and her face revealed an intense look of shock. She had already known about the nomological laws that Mo Qingyun had comprehended before coming here. But when she saw it for herself, she could not help but feel shocked and panicked. Facing Mo Qingyun with such strength, she had no chance of winning. Break! In her panic, LV Doin did not dare to hesitate and quickly released the spatial shattering law. Unfortunately, her comprehension of the shattering of space was not particularly thorough. Therefore, under the power of her spatial shattering law, the surrounding space imprisonment was not broken. Immediately, under LV Doin's terrified gaze, the sword light hit her body. No, after being hit by the sword light, LV Doin's body flew out and a hideous wound appeared. Seeing LV Doin's appearance, everyone was shocked and felt some disbelief. LV Doin was also defeated, and she was defeated so thoroughly. All of a sudden, the entire Valley of Extreme Devil became silent. Never would I have expected that even LV Doin would not be able to resist him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Gu Hao could not help but sigh. His expression turned grave as he said, "It seems like we've underestimated him before. The strength he truly possesses is already comparable to the top 1,000 rankers of the Earth Devil Tower. A powerful opponent has arrived." Hearing Gu Hao's words, Shaman's expression became solemn and she remained silent. Clearly, he agreed with Gu Hao's words. Compared to the feelings of Gu Hao and the other two, Gung Mo's heart was extremely uncomfortable, and the pressure he bore was the greatest. Mo Qingyun had defeated LV Douyin and would definitely continue to challenge others. It wouldn't be long before it would be his turn. Thinking of being challenged by Mo Qingyun and even being defeated, Gung Mo's mood instantly turned sour. Under the enormous pressure, Gung Mo's face was as black as ink. He snorted coldly and said, "I don't believe that this brat's strength is really so powerful." Seeing Gung Mo's performance, Gu Hao and the other two exchanged a glance and immediately guessed his thoughts. Understanding what Gung Mo was thinking in his heart, Gu Hao patted his shoulder and said, "That brat is a true demon. If there's no need, better not take the initiative to provoke him. This won't do you any good." Shaman nodded. Meeting an opponent like Mo Qingyun was indeed a headache. While Gu Hao and the other two were talking, Mo Qingyun obtained her Earth Devil Tower's tower token from LV Douyin's hands. Obtaining LV Douyin's tower token, Mo Qingyun turned his head to look at Gu Hao and the other two and said, "The few of you, since you're here, then come over and fight with me." Not interested. Regarding Mo Qingyun's challenge, Gu Hao rejected it decisively. Shaman was silent and did not speak. She also had a look of disinterest. Compared to Gu Hao and the other two, Gung Mo's face was dark, showing a displeased look. However, seeing that Gu Hao and the other two did not make a move, he was not in a hurry to step forward. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, at this moment, the surrounding onlookers all looked at Gu Hao and the other two. "Why? Don't dare?" Seeing that Gu Hao and the other two did not accept the challenge, Mo Qingyun smiled slightly and looked at them with disdain. He said, "Could it be that you're not accepting the challenge because you're afraid that you won't be able to take 3 moves from me?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding onlookers could not stand it and expressed strong dissatisfaction. Mo Qingyun actually boasted that Gu Hao and the other two could not even take 3 moves from him. "Gu Hao, that brat is too arrogant. Please teach him a lesson. A new disciple actually dares to be so arrogant. This absolutely cannot be condoned." "That's right. Please make him suffer a little. If you guys don't do anything, you'll definitely be made fun of by that brat." The surrounding onlookers all persuaded Gu Hao and the other two. Towards the requests of the people around them, Gu Hao and Shaman remained expressionless, and still had no intention of making a move. However, under the constant shouts of the crowd, Gung Mo could not hold it in any longer. After a while, Gung Mo gritted his teeth and flew towards Mo Qingyun. Sigh. Gung Mo is too impulsive. Seeing Gung Mo's actions, Gu Hao could not help but sigh and shake his head. Hearing Gu Hao's words, Shaman nodded his head and said, "With Gung Mo's temperament, he will definitely suffer a great loss. I hope he can remember this time." Gu Hao and Shaman chatted for a while, then they stopped talking and silently looked at Mo Qingyun and Shaman. Seeing Gung Mo jump out, Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile. Although the weakest one had come, it was still a good thing for one of them to stand up. After sizing up Gung Mo briefly, Mo Qingyun became impatient and said, "Tell me your ranking in the Earth Devil Tower. If your ranking is too low, I won't have the time to guide your cultivation." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gung Mo was immediately angered to the point that his face turned green. Mo Qingyun actually said that fighting with him was to guide him in his cultivation. This was simply too arrogant. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Gung Mo gritted his teeth and said, "My name is Gung Mo, ranked 762 in the Earth Devil Tower. Do I have the qualifications to fight with you? Although the ranking is a bit low, it's not bad to be a warm-up target." After knowing Gung Mo's ranking, Mo Qingyun shook his head in disappointment, showing a strong sense of disdain. In his opinion, even if he defeated Gung Mo, his ranking wouldn't increase by much. He thought that if he defeated one of the top 100, his efficiency would be much higher. It's still too early to say who's warming up for who. Seeing Mo Qingyun belittling him, Gung Mo's face darkened, and a strong sense of anger arose. This feeling of being looked down upon made him feel extremely unhappy. As soon as Gung Mo finished speaking, his figure moved, and he took the lead to punch towards Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2746. A spatial confinement law emanated from Gung Mo's body, confining the space around Mo Qingyun. After locking down the space around Mo Qingyun, Gung Mo revealed a smug expression and sneered, "Brat, even though you have comprehended more laws, my cultivation is far higher than yours. In a close combat battle, you are not my match at all." As Gung Mo spoke, a huge flaming fist blasted out from his fist. The speed of the fist was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived above Mo Qingyun and blasted down on Mo Qingyun. "I'm afraid you will be disappointed," Mo Qingyun replied indifferently, not showing the slightest bit of fear in the face of the incoming fist. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he took out the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and waved it casually in front of him. Space Splitter. A sword light flashed past and the space in front of Mo Qingyun was directly split apart. After breaking the confinement of the space around him, Mo Qingyun blasted out a palm and released a spatial law. Space Expansion. Under this spatial law, the distance between him and the fist was immediately pulled apart. Immediately, Gung Mo's fist was neutralized by Mo Qingyun. What a powerful sword! It actually broke the spatial law. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's sword, Gu Hao trembled and his eyes were filled with shock. Mo Qingyun's performance made him feel a sense of uneasiness, giving rise to a tremendous pressure. In this way, the threat of the spatial law to Mo Qingyun was weakened to the extreme. "This kid is far more terrifying than we imagined." Hearing Gu Hao's words, Sha Man couldn't help but sigh and say, "Other people's spatial law is useless against him, but others can't ignore his spatial law. This is too advantageous in a fight. It seems that even if I fight him, I won't have any chance of winning." Gu Hao shook his head and revealed a self-mocking smile. He looked at Gung Mo and said, "The outcome of this battle has been decided. I'm afraid Gung Mo will lose." While Gu Hao was speaking, Mo Qingyun launched a counterattack and arrived in front of Gung Mo's space imprisonment. Arriving in front of Gung Mo Qingyun did not show the slightest mercy, releasing the law of space on him. Then, the space around Gung Mo was sealed off in an overbearing manner. After imprisoning the space around Gung Mo Qingyun slashed out with his sword, blasting out a sharp sword light. The speed of the sword light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Gung Mo, breaking through the space and slamming into his body. Bang! Being struck by the sword light, Gung Mo was immediately sent flying, and a hideous wound appeared on his body. When Gung Mo flew out, a group of evil spirits pounced on him and drowned him in an instant. Under the siege of the evil spirits, Gung Mo's physical body was immediately destroyed, and his primordial spirit escaped in a panic. Seeing Gung Mo's primordial spirit escape, the evil spirit immediately chased after him, unwilling to let him go just like that. Break! Seeing the evil spirits continue to chase after Gung Mo, Gu Hao slammed a palm out toward the evil spirits, repelling those evil spirits. Seeing Gu Hao make a move to save him, Gung Mo revealed a look of gratitude. Floating beside Gu Hao, he said, "Many thanks, senior apprentice brother Gu. I'll remember this kindness. If you had listened to me earlier, how could you have ended up like this?" Regarding Gung Mo's gratitude, Gu Hao reprimanded him crossly. Hearing Gu Hao's words, Gung Mo fell silent and had no words to object. If he listened to Gu Hao's words and did not accept Mo Qingyun's challenge, he would not have ended up with his physical body destroyed. Hand over the Lu token. Looking at Gung Mo beside Gu Hao, Mo Qingyun did not talk nonsense and directly ordered him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gung Mo revealed a look of unwillingness and threw the Lu token to Mo Qingyun. Getting Gung Mo's Lu token, Mo Qingyun looked at Gu Hao Duo and said in a solemn voice, "The two of you don't run anymore. Come over and fight together." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people's expressions were startled, producing an intense shock. Mo Qingyun wanted to challenge Gu Hao and Charmin at the same time? Gu Hao and Charmin's strength was much stronger than Gung Mo's. Challenging the two of them at the same time, the difficulty was not an ordinary kind of great. This kid is really too arrogant to actually challenge Gu Hao Duo at the same time. Wonder if Gu Hao will pay attention or not and accept Mo Qingyun's challenge. If Gu Hao doesn't challenge, their reputation will probably plummet and be despised by others henceforth. Everyone clamored to get a word in. Regarding everyone's pointing and whispering, Gu Hao did not care in the slightest. He directly took out the Lu token and threw it to Mo Qingyun, saying, "I'm not your match. This is my Lu token, catch." After Gu Hao threw the Lu token out, he immediately turned around and left, leaving everyone dumbfounded. They really did not expect that under Mo Qingyun's provocation, Gu Hao would actually choose to do so. I didn't see wrongly too, right? Gu Hao actually admitted defeat? This way, wouldn't that kid's Earth Devil Tower ranking enter the top 100? Too terrifying, entering the sect for half a day and the Earth Devil Tower ranking charged into the top 100. No, this isn't his end point. He probably still has to continue challenging. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone sucked in a cold breath. Under everyone's astonished gazes, Mo Qingyun received Gu Hao's Lu token. His face revealed some surprise as he said, "This Gu Hao is rather interesting. Obtaining his Lu token, it increased my progress greatly. This way, I also don't need to delay any time and directly challenge the people in front." This thought arose in his heart. Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately left Absolute Devil Valley. After leaving Absolute Devil Valley, Mo Qingyun did not delay any time and directly issued a letter of challenge to the top 99 people. Receiving Mo Qingyun's letter of challenge, the people in the top 99 of Earth Devil Tower were all enraged. In their view, Mo Qingyun's action was seriously too rampant. They were different from Gu Hao. They did not have such good upbringing and could accept Mo Qingyun's arrogant action. Immediately, the people in the top 99 of Earth Devil Tower all gathered in Absolute Devil Valley. Their thoughts were very simple. That was to teach Mo Qingyun a lesson and make Mo Qingyun restrain himself a little. When such news spread out, it immediately startled the entire Supreme Harmony Devil sect. Even some elders were attracted too. Although Outer Sect disciples' status was not too honorable in the Supreme Harmony Devil sect, it was only the lowest level. But Mo Qingyun was different. He entered the sect for half a day and had such achievement. His potential was not the slightest bit inferior to core disciples. Immediately, the originally deserted Absolute Devil Valley became overcrowded all of a sudden. After these people arrived, they started pointing and discussing Mo Qingyun's action. "Senior Brother Gu, your choice is right. Facing this brat head-on is absolutely unwise." Looking at Mo Qingyun in the middle of Absolute Devil Valley, Sha Man revealed a bitter smile. His mood became incomparably complicated. He never thought that things would actually turn out like this. Chapter 2747. In the conference hall of the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect, an elder rushed into the conference hall, attracting the attention of the people in the hall. The sect master of the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect, Ba Beilai, looked at the elder and asked, "Elder Qian Luo, why are you in such a hurry?" Reporting to the sect master, something big has happened among the outer disciples. Qian Luo calmed down when he heard Ba Beilai's question and told him what had happened. Not long ago, a new disciple by the name of Mo Qingyun challenged the top 100 disciples of the Earth Demon Tower. Many people rushed over to watch the battle. Mo Qingyun, Ba Beilai was stunned. He couldn't help but look at Meng Qi and the others. Elder Meng Qi, is the person Elder Qian Luo is talking about the one you mentioned just now? Yes. Meng Qi and the others smiled bitterly. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. We really didn't expect that he would rush into the top 100 in such a short time. Not long ago, he had told Ba Beilai about Mo Qingyun. He hadn't expected that Mo Qingyun's ranking in the Earth Demon Tower would rise from the top 10,000 to the top 100 in just a short time. This speed of improvement was really terrifying. More importantly, Mo Qingyun didn't stop. He continued to issue challenges. Judging from his posture, it seemed like he was going to take the first place. It seems like this lad is really talented. After hearing about Mo Qingyun, Ba Beilai's curiosity was piqued. He smiled faintly and said, "My interest in him has intensified. Why don't we make a trip to the Demon Tower and see his performance with our own eyes?" After hearing Ba Beilai's thoughts, everyone started whispering and discussing whether or not they should go and take a look. While everyone was discussing, they could all see that Ba Beilai was interested in this talent. After a short while, everyone finished discussing and decided to make a trip to the Demon Tower. Then, Ba Beilai led everyone and rushed over to the Demon Tower. When they arrived at the Demon Tower, they saw that there was already a sea of people around the Demon Tower. The inner disciple selection of the sect seems to be nothing more than this, right? Looking at the scene in front of him, Ba Beilai couldn't help but sigh. He was even more curious about Mo Qingyun. He said, "For a disciple who just joined to have such influence, this child is really extraordinary." While Ba Beilai was sighing with emotion, everyone noticed his arrival. They were all shocked. Sect Master is here. My God, Mo Qingyun's allure is too great. Even the Sect Master was alarmed. Could this guy be provoking everyone because of this? It's very possible. If he succeeds, he will reach the heavens in a single step. Seeing Ba Beilai and the others arrive, everyone was shocked and started to make wild guesses. After speculating for a while, the way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed greatly. Soon, the crowd made way for Ba Beilai and the others to watch the battle. "Sect Master, he is Mo Qingyun, the person we mentioned to you." When they arrived at the Demon Tower, Meng Qi pointed at Mo Qingyun and introduced him to Ba Beilai. Ba Beilai looked in the direction Meng Qi pointed at and recognized Mo Qingyun. He was shocked and said, "His cultivation is only at the half-step universe realm?" "Yes." Meng Qi and the others nodded. Hearing such an answer from Meng Qi and the others, Ba Beilai was even more shocked. A half-step universe realm disciple had made it into the top 100 of the Earth Demon Tower. This was somewhat extraordinary. Soon after, Ba Beilai looked at Mo Qingyun with a look of anticipation and nervousness. Under the gazes of Ba Beilai and the others, Mo Qingyun turned to look at someone and cupped his hands. Mo Qingyun, ranked 100 in the Earth Demon Tower, challenges Zhou Tao, ranked 99 in the Earth Demon Tower. Please enlighten me. Under Mo Qingyun's challenge, Zhou Tao, ranked 99 in the Earth Demon Tower, flew to the center of the Demon Tower with a dark face. "Lad, your complacency ends here." After shooting a cold glance at Mo Qingyun, Zhou Tao didn't say anything else and took the initiative to attack. Zhou Tao went all out as soon as he attacked. He released a wave of space law and confined the space around Mo Qingyun. When they saw Zhou Tao attack, the expressions of the surrounding people immediately became tense. Under the tense gazes of the crowd, Mo Qingyun blasted out with his sword and easily destroyed the space around him. After destroying the space around him, Mo Qingyun's attack didn't decrease and he started to counterattack. Mo Qingyun swung his sword, which carried a wave of space confinement law, and slashed at Zhou Tao. Very quickly, the spatial nomological laws around Zhou Tao were forcefully confined. Space confinement law. When he saw that the space around him had been confined, Zhou Tao's expression trembled and a look of shock appeared on his face. The second law that he had comprehended wasn't the space-shattering law, so he couldn't destroy the space around him. As a result, he could only forcibly resist Mo Qingyun's sword. Silent wave-breaking sword. After calming down, Zhou Tao didn't dare to hesitate and immediately slashed out with his sword. Then, a rainbow-colored sword ray blasted out from his long sword. However, the rainbow-colored sword ray that he blasted out didn't weaken Mo Qingyun's sword ray in the slightest. After passing through Zhou Tao's sword ray, Mo Qingyun's sword ray blasted Zhou Tao overbearingly. Then, Zhou Tao's chest was pierced and his body flew out. When Zhou Tao flew out, the aura that he exuded immediately weakened because of it. Under Mo Qingyun's sword, he lost the ability to continue fighting. I lost. After being seriously injured by Mo Qingyun's sword, Zhou Tao looked unwilling and admitted defeat to Mo Qingyun. Then, he took out his building token and threw it at Mo Qingyun. After handing over his building token, Zhou Tao retreated to the center of the crowd to heal his injuries. He defeated a universe realm powerhouse with just one sword. What shocking battle strength! Seeing Mo Qingyun's choice, Babilai was shocked. He nodded in appreciation and said, "Although this boy is a little arrogant, he does have some capital. If he is polished well, he will be a rare gem." Hearing Babeli's words, Meng Qi and the others nodded in agreement. They also felt the same way. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Mo Qingyun turned to look at another person and said, "Earth Demon Buildings 99th Mo Qingyun challenges 98th, Zhao Shaoshan. Please enlighten me." After receiving Mo Qingyun's challenge, Zhao Shaoshan didn't hesitate and immediately fought with Mo Qingyun. The result was still the same. With just one sword, he was defeated by Mo Qingyun. After that, Mo Qingyun continuously challenged the people in front of him. With one sword, Huang Jun, ranked 97th, was defeated. With one sword, Li Dezheng, ranked 96th, was defeated. With one sword, Wang Sihu, ranked 11th, was defeated. Seeing people being defeated one after another, everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe that this was real. Chapter 2748. Looks like I still underestimated his battle strength. This guy is too strong. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Gu Hao couldn't help but sigh. He looked a little dejected. Obviously, Mo Qingyun's performance was a blow to him. Hearing Gu Hao's words, Sha Man looked scared and said, "Senior brother Gu, luckily you reminded me not to provoke this guy. If he fought with Mo Qingyun, the result would be the same as Gung Mo's." The conversation between Gu Hao and Sha Man made Gung Mo and the others fall silent. They had all suffered a great loss when fighting with Mo Qingyun. Although they were unwilling, looking at the young man in the middle of the Demon Valley, they were all dejected. They knew that with their talent and potential, they wouldn't be able to take revenge. Very good. My expectations for this guy are getting higher and higher. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Babeli smiled faintly and nodded approvingly. He said, "I wonder how he will perform in the next challenge." In this old man's opinion, the number 1 outer sect disciple will be replaced today. Hearing Babeli's words, Meng Qi was also looking forward to seeing Mo Qingyun's performance. Ma Kun and the others nodded. They all had the same thought. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun turned to look at someone. He cupped his hands and said, "Mo Qingyun, ranked 10th in the Earth Demon Tower, challenges Chun Ming, ranked 9th in the Earth Demon Tower. Please enlighten me." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chun Ming didn't retreat. He immediately flew towards Mo Qingyun. Chun Ming's cultivation wasn't low. He was at the middle stage of the universe realm, one realm higher than the previous people. However, this didn't make much of a difference to Mo Qingyun. If Mo Qingyun wanted to defeat him, it would only be a matter of using one move or a few moves. Don't dawdle. Hurry up and do it. There are still many people waiting behind. Mo Qingyun urged Chen Ling impatiently when he saw that Chen Ling was still not making a move. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chen Yu's expression darkened as a strong sense of anger welled up within him. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's attitude was really looking down on him. Brat, it's not as easy as you think to defeat my subordinate. Chen Ling roared angrily. He no longer hesitated and immediately launched an attack on Mo Qingyun. The moment Chen Kong attacked, he released an astonishing aura that crushed towards Mo Qingyun. At the same time, a mysterious power of law erupted from his body. Azure Dragon Void Shattering Blade. Chen Ming clenched his fists and a huge dragon-carved blade appeared in his hands. When the long saber was taken out, it emitted a shocking aura and slashed out a golden dragon saber light. The golden dragon saber light blasted out and disappeared in a flash, arriving in front of Mo Qingyun in the blink of an eye. In the face of the golden dragon saber light's attack, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. He raised his hand and struck out with his palm. As Mo Qingyun struck out with his palm, the distance between him and the golden dragon saber light widened countless times. Then, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and dodged Chen Ling's saber light. After dodging Chen Ling's saber light, Mo Qingyun did not stop and immediately took out the Nine-Bull Divine Sword. It ignored defense, spatial compression. As soon as the Nine-Bull Divine Sword appeared in his hand, Mo Qingyun slashed out a golden dragon saber light. The golden dragon saber light blasted out and rushed forward at extreme speed, quickly arriving in front of Chen Ling's spatial deviation. Chen Ling did not dare hesitate in the face of the golden dragon saber light's attack and immediately changed its direction. Under the influence of the spatial deviation law, the direction of the golden dragon saber's attack changed drastically. It's useless. Mo Qingyun was not surprised by Chen Ling's action. When he saw the golden dragon saber light's direction change, Mo Qingyun released two types of spatial laws to change the direction of the saber light. Soon, the golden dragon saber light blasted towards Chen Ling at extreme speed. The spatial deviation law. No, this is not the spatial deviation law. Chen Ling's expression changed when he saw the saber light's direction change. His eyes were filled with shock as he said, "This is the result of the fusion of the spatial expansion law and the spatial compression law. As it expands and contracts, it changes the trajectory of space and causes the saber light to change direction. I didn't expect his use of the spatial law to reach such a level." While Chen Ling was still in shock, he did not hesitate in the slightest and hurriedly swung his saber to block the incoming saber light. The compassion of the Azure Dragon Saber. As Chen Ling swung his saber, it emitted a low dragon roar and blasted out a black dragon shadow saber light. The dragon shadow saber light blasted out and met the saber light head-on. However, the saber light's defense was blocked by the saber light. The saber light passed through it and continued to blast towards Chen Ling. Oh no, I forgot that his sword moves can ignore any defense. Chen Ling's heart trembled when he saw the saber light continue to descend. His face was filled with shock. When he thought of this, he quickly retreated in an attempt to avoid the saber light's attack. Unfortunately, his movements were still too slow, and he was directly hit by the sword light. Slash. The saber light swept past and sent Chen Ling flying, leaving behind a hideous wound. As Chen Ming flew backwards, the aura he exuded started to weaken rapidly. Judging by his current state, he was most likely going to lose the ability to continue fighting. I admit defeat. I've lost this battle wholeheartedly. Chen Ling steadied himself and admitted defeat to Mo Qingyun with a look of admiration. As soon as he finished speaking, he exchanged tokens with Mo Qingyun and flew to the side in a flash. Everyone was stunned by Chen Ling's performance. They felt that it was a little surreal. I didn't expect that even Chen Ling would not be able to withstand one of Mo Qingyun's moves. Is there really no one who can withstand one of his moves? Even an ordinary inner court disciple can't compare to his true combat strength, right? Is he trying to become an inner sect disciple as soon as he entered the sect? Everyone's hearts were filled with shock. They were unable to accept this outcome. When they saw Emo Qingyun's performance, Babilai and the others had different thoughts. Babilai was shocked when he saw Emo Qingyun in the center of the Demon Valley. He was actually able to think of combining the space expansion law and the space compression law to create the effect of the space deviation law. This kid is really a genius. Meng Qi and the others nodded in agreement when they heard Babeli's evaluation. They knew that they definitely wouldn't have been able to do what Emo Qingyun had done when they had still been in the space realm. While they were shocked, they also felt some anticipation. They wanted to see Emo Qingyun's expression after this. Under everyone's expectant gazes, Emo Qingyun cupped his fists and challenged another person. Chapter 2749. It wasn't long before the battle between the two of them ended. The outcome was still the same. Under Emo Qingyun's attack, he was still unable to withstand a single move. Everyone felt helpless towards such an outcome, yet they felt extremely excited. They really wanted to know exactly how long Emo Qingyun's record could be maintained for. Subsequently, Emo Qingyun challenged one person after another under the gazes of everyone. But the outcome was the same. Everyone was defeated with a single move. Unknowingly, only the first disciple of the Earth Devil Pavilion remained amongst the 10+ outer court disciples. Only Gu Tian remains. I wonder if he can break the situation. Gu Tian's natural talent is one of the best in the Supreme Devil Sect. It isn't easy to defeat him. Even though Gu Tian is still an outer court disciple, his true strength has already far surpassed ordinary inner court disciples. This battle will surely be extremely exciting. I'm truly looking forward to it. When they thought of the following battle, the surrounding people had excited expressions as they whispered in discussion at the side. Under the discussion of everyone, Gu Tian had a solemn expression as he walked out from the crowd. It wasn't long before Gu Tian arrived before Emo Qingyun, and he revealed a gaze that was filled with interest. Amongst the outer court disciples, only you're worthy of me fighting with my full strength. Gu Tian revealed a gaze of admiration as he sized up Emo Qingyun, and he praised Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun didn't mind in the slightest when he heard Gu Tian, and he said calmly, "It's truly boring to always end a battle with a single strike. I hope you're different from them." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't speak any further with Gu Tian and chose to make the first move. When Emo Qingyun made a move, a strand of profound energy of the spatial laws erupted from his body. Under this energy of the spatial laws, the space around Gu Tian was confined, and it restricted his ability to move. Gu Tian didn't panic in the slightest when facing such a situation, and he pointed out with his finger unhurriedly. "Origin Void Shattering Finger." Gu Tian pointed out with his finger, and a strand of profound energy erupted from the tip of his finger. When this energy erupted, it transformed into a ray of light that blasted onto the sealed space before him. Bang! Under the bombardment of the finger radiance, the sealed space was instantly shattered, like glass being smashed. After shattering the space in front of him, Gu Tian's figure moved, and he said with a faint smile, "A move of this level isn't very effective against me." As Gu Tian spoke, his figure flashed, and he quickly arrived before Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun's brows knit together tightly when he saw Gu Tian's assault, and a strong feeling of bewilderment arose in his heart. He said, "The energy he utilized earlier seemed to be slightly familiar, yet I'm unable to confirm it." Before Emo Qingyun could think any further, Gu Tian's figure had already approached him, and he blasted his finger towards him once more. Following which, a ray of light shot out and tyrannically blasted towards Emo Qingyun's head. What astonishing finger strength! Emo Qingyun was shocked when he felt the might of Gu Tian's finger. He didn't dare to meet it head-on. After that, Emo Qingyun's figure retreated and dodged the ray of light that Gu Tian blasted out. When Emo Qingyun retreated, a strand of profound energy of the laws was released from Gu Tian's body. After that, the speed of the ray of light that approached instantly rose to the limit. Spatial expansion. When he saw Gu Tian release the law of space compression, Emo Qingyun didn't dare hold back any longer, and he immediately released a strand of the law. Under the energy of the law of spatial expansion, Missouri Qingyun's expression eased up slightly when he pulled open the distance between him and the ray of light. However, he didn't let down his guard because of this, and he immediately slashed out with his sword. Instantly, a ray of sword light that possessed a fierce aura blasted out from the divine nine-bull sword. Swish! The ray of sword light struck the ray of light, and it produced an ear-piercing sound that caused a terrifying energy fluctuation. Then, a dazzling golden storm of saint power formed between Emo Qingyun and the young man. When they saw the storm of saint energy approaching, Emo Qingyun and Gu Tian both retreated, and they didn't forcefully resist the storm of saint energy. This kid's sword moves are so powerful, and the sword in his hand isn't simple either. When he saw Emo Qingyun make a move, Gu Tian's expression was shocked, and his face was filled with shock. After that, a complicated expression appeared in his eyes when he looked at Emo Qingyun. He's so strong, and it's not a good thing to drag this out. I have to end the battle as soon as possible. After exchanging a blow with Gu Tian, Emo Qingyun had a thought, and he immediately had a plan. After that, his attacks immediately became stronger, and he madly swung his sword at Gu Tian. As Emo Qingyun swung his sword, ray after ray of sword light flew out and violently bombarded Gu Tian. When faced with Emo Qingyun's attacks, even if Gu Tian's strength was formidable, he still fell into a passive state. However, the crowd didn't really care about this. As expected of the number one disciple in the outer court, Gu Tian actually exchanged over 50 blows with Emo Qingyun. However, his current situation isn't good, and it's quite difficult for him to obtain victory. Gu Tian can be proud of being able to exchange over 50 blows with someone like Emo Qingyun. Why do these words sound so strange? Shouldn't it be the other way around? As they watched the battle between Emo Qingyun and Gu Tian, the crowd whispered and pointed. Under the excited gazes of the crowd, a faint door of light suddenly flew out from Emo Qingyun's body. After this door of light finished condensing, it emitted a strand of the energy of the laws that entered Emo Qingyun's body. Spatial Shackles Law. After comprehending the energy of the laws in his mind, a faint smile appeared on the corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth, and he said, "The first level of the Spatial Shackles Law is unable to imprison you, so what about the second level of the Spatial Shackles Law?" When Emo Qingyun thought like this in his heart, he didn't hesitate any longer and immediately released the second level of the Spatial Shackles Law. Sky-shattering Dragon Finger. When he saw the space in the surroundings being sealed, Gu Tian didn't hesitate in the slightest to blast out with his finger, and he wanted to use this to shatter the space in the surroundings. In next to no time, a fierce golden ray of light blasted out from Gu Tian's finger. Crack! Crack! However, when the ray of light struck the space, it didn't shatter it in a domineering manner, and it only shattered the space. After that, the cracks that appeared in the space quickly recovered to its original state. How could this be possible? When he saw the situation before him, even with Gu Tian's mental state, his expression still changed greatly at this moment. After that, a wisp of fear surged into his gaze as he looked at Emo Qingyun. He never imagined that Emo Qingyun still possessed such ability, and he'd miscalculated this time. It really didn't shatter. When he saw Gu Tian's performance, Emo Qingyun's expression was filled with joy, and he revealed a brilliant smile as he said, "Since you're unable to break through my laws, then there's no suspense in our battle, and it should end here." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't speak any further and launched another attack towards Gu Tian. Chapter 2750. The speed of the sword light was extremely fast. It arrived before Gu Tian in the blink of an eye and smashed into his body. Gu Tian was sent flying by the sword light, and a hideous wound appeared on his chest. Everyone in the surroundings was stunned when they saw this scene. They were unable to recover from their shock for a long time. Gu Tian still lost in the end. Mo Qingyun still reached the top in the end. In the entire history of the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect, Mo Qingyun's battle results can be considered number 1. It looks like there won't be a problem for him to advance in the inner disciple test half a month later. Of course there won't be a problem. With his combat strength, ordinary inner disciples can't compare to him. The surrounding disciples revealed envious expressions when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Under the envious gazes of everyone, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly, and his gaze stared fixedly at Gu Tian as he said with surprise and bewilderment, "Strange, why do I sense a familiar aura on this person? Exactly what secret does he possess?" Gu Tian frowned when he sensed Mo Qingyun's gaze. He immediately became vigilant and said, "Looking at this fellow's performance, he seems to have discovered some of my secrets. I have to leave this place as soon as possible." Gu Tian thought in his heart. He took out the building token and tossed it to Mo Qingyun. After exchanging the building token with Mo Qingyun, Gu Tian directly left. "It looks like I have to pay more attention to this person if I have the chance in the future," Mo Qingyun thought to himself as he looked at Gu Tian's back. He was a little more curious about Gu Tian. After making a decision, Mo Qingyun withdrew his gaze and bowed to Meng Qi and the others. He said, "Greetings, sect master and elders." "Haha, there's no need to be so polite." When he saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Babilai smiled and waved his hand. He said, "Mo Qingyun, I want to take in a disciple in name. Are you willing to take me as your master?" When Babeli's words came out of his mouth, the people around him were stunned. Babilai wanted to take Mo Qingyun as his disciple. Mo Qingyun was about to soar. Even if he was just a disciple in name, as the sect master's disciple in name, his status wasn't something that an inner disciple could compare to. We still underestimated him. He achieved his goal. Not only is his talent outstanding, but he also has terrifying intelligence. We can't provoke him. Looks like the waters of the Demon Gate of Supreme Harmony will be muddied because of him. When they saw Babeli's actions, the surrounding disciples were envious. Mo Qingyun had just entered the sect and was already valued by Babilai. This was indeed something to be envied. It's of course, it's of an eye of the world. After hearing Babeli's question, Mo Qingyun made a decision. After that, Mo Qingyun bowed to Babeli and said, "Disciple Mo Qingyun greets Master. Please rise." Babilai nodded with a smile when he saw Mo Qingyun's actions. He took out a strange key and said, "This is the key to the 7th Hall of Supreme Harmony. You'll stay in the 7th Hall of Supreme Harmony from now on." After Babilai finished speaking, he tossed the strange key to Mo Qingyun. "Thank you, Master." Mo Qingyun received the key and bowed to express his gratitude. After obtaining the key to the 7th Hall of Supreme Harmony, Mo Qingyun took out the first Earth Devil Towers token and handed it to an outer court elder. While Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, an elder arrived with a nervous expression. The elder walked up to Babilai with a solemn expression and reported in a low voice, "Sect Master, someone from the Tao Ruins Saint Sect is here. He said he has something important to discuss with you." Babilai revealed a shocked expression when he heard the elder's report, and he glanced at Mo Qingyun before he said, "Qingyun, if you have nothing else to do, then come with me. I'll introduce you to the members of the Tao Ruins Sacred Sect." "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded. Mo Qingyun left with Babilai and the others under the envious gazes of the others. Soon after, Mo Qingyun followed Babilai and the others to the assembly hall of Supreme Harmony Devil Sect. Many people were already seated in the assembly hall at this moment. There were people from the Supreme Harmony Devil Sect and the Dao Ruins Saints Sect among them. It's him. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the people from the Dao Ruins Saints Sect. This was because the people from the Dao Ruins Saints Sect were Xin Jie and the others who were chasing after him. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. I didn't expect to meet you here. Mo Qingyun's heart sank when he saw Xin Jie and the others. He could not help but worry as he said, I wonder if Babilai will protect me when Xin Jie interrogates me later? Mo Qingyun's mind was filled with a myriad of thoughts as he thought about how to deal with the situation before him. Since he had taken Babilai as his master, it was difficult for him to decide between good and bad. You're really here. It took us a long time to find you. Xin Jie's face darkened when he saw Mo Qingyun entering the assembly hall. A strong killing intent surged from his body. Babilai and the others were curious when they saw Xin Jie's reaction. They could not help but look at Mo Qingyun and the others. They could see that not only did Mo Qingyun and Xin Jie know each other, but they also seemed to have a grudge against each other. Young Sect Master Xin Jie, may I know why you've come to the Supreme Harmony Devil Sect? After sizing up Mo Qingyun and Xin Jie, Babilai broke the atmosphere and asked about Xin Jie's purpose in coming. Hearing Ba Bailey's question, Xin Jie bowed respectfully and said, Senior, Junior has come for him. I hope Senior can hand him over to me. Babilai and the others were curious when they heard Xin Jie's purpose in coming. They wanted to know the reason. Qingyun, tell us the truth about the matter between you and young sect Master Xin Jie. Babilai muttered to himself for a moment and then nodded at Mo Qingyun, allowing him to tell the story. Hearing Babeli's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and began to explain the whole story. After Mo Qingyun's story, the way Babilai and the others looked at him changed drastically. With Xin Jie's quasi-eternal realm cultivation, Mo Qingyun had snatched the star nest origin from him. This kind of instinctive resistance was too shocking. Mo Qingyun had entered the Supreme Harmony Devil Sect. If his performance had not been too shocking, Xin Jie might not have been able to find him. Young Sect Master Xin Jie, treasures of heaven and earth belong to those who are fated to obtain them. You're not right. Babilai pretended to be dissatisfied and reprimanded Xin Jie. He said, according to Qingyun, he was already waiting for the star nest origin to take shape before you arrive. You captured the star nest origin and even wanted to kill him to silence him. This is killing and robbing. Senior you, Xin Jie's expression darkened when he saw Babilai taking sides. He was extremely dissatisfied. However, due to Babeli's status, he did not dare show it. He cupped his hands and said, in that case, Junior will take his leave. I hope Senior will not regret his decision in the Starfield Battle for Glory. Chapter 27:51. Everyone in the hall frowned when they heard Xin Jie's words. Upon seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun was curious about the stellar field battle that Xin Jie mentioned. Master, this happened because of me. May I know what I can do to help? Mo Qingyun broke the silence and asked Babilai when he saw everyone was silent. Babilai smiled when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He said, you don't have to worry about this. Although the great Dao Ruins Saints sect is powerful, our Supreme Harmony Devil sect is not to be trifled with. Mo Qingyun did not ask any more questions when he heard Babeli's words. He planned to find out more in private. Based on Xin Jie's performance earlier, the stellar field battle was not a small matter. Many people must know about it. After replying to Mo Qingyun, Babilai waved his hand and said, you must be exhausted from the continuous battles. Go back and rest early. Yes, I'll take my leave now. Emo Chingyun responded when he heard Babeli's words. He walked out of the hall. After Emo Chingyun left the hall, Meng Qi and the others began to discuss with Babeli solemnly. The people from the Dao Ruins Saints sect are getting more and more arrogant. That's right. He's just a little young sect master, but he's so arrogant. If Elder Gu didn't stop me earlier, I would have killed him with a slap. My impression of Emo Chingyun is getting better and better. That brat did well. The elders were dissatisfied with Xin Jie's actions. Babeli nodded with a faint smile when he heard their words. He said, "There's only half a year left before the Stellar Field battle. There's not much time left. Looks like I'll have to visit the other sections. Sect Master, I'm willing to make a trip and ask the other sects what they think." A white-robed old man walked out and took the initiative to ask Babeli. He was prepared to speak on Babeli's behalf. Babeli did not reject the old man's request. He nodded and said, "In that case, I'll have to trouble Elder Bai Hua." After receiving Babeli's approval, the old man nodded and walked out of the hall. After Babeli gave the old man some instructions, he no longer hesitated and began to discuss other matters with the others. Outside the 7 halls of Supreme Harmony. Under the guidance of the key to the 7 halls of Supreme Harmony, Emo Chingyun easily found this place. This place is not bad. Emo Chingyun nodded in satisfaction as he looked at the 7th hall of Supreme Harmony in front of him and walked into the hall. When Emo Chingyun entered the hall, he didn't think too much about it. He immediately prepared to improve his cultivation. Since Xin Jie came, then my situation isn't good. I have to improve my cultivation as soon as possible and increase my strength to protect myself. Although Babeli was protecting him, Emo Chingyun couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't be in danger. In a flicker, Emo Chingyun entered the Fortune mainland. After arriving at the Fortune mainland, Emo Chingyun headed straight to the Grand Mist Sea to hunt and refine Grand Mist spirit. As his strength continued to rise, Emo Chingyun's speed of hunting Grand Mist spirits was much faster than before. Subsequently, under Emo Chingyun's relentless attacks, Grand Mist spirits were killed one after another. 10 days passed in a flash. In these 10 days, Emo Chingyun's harvest was great. He had killed a total of 16 Grand Mist spirits. Among them, there was 1 late-stage Universe Realm Spirit, 3 mid-stage Universe Realm Spirit, 5 early-stage Universe Realm Spirit, and 7 Celestial Domain Realm Spirit. In that case, let's start refining. After obtaining the Grand Mist spirits, Emo Chingyun didn't want to waste any time and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. As Emo Chingyun immersed himself in cultivation, a black light gate emitting devouring power flew out from his body. The black light gate floated above Emo Chingyun's head and emitted a terrifying devouring power, absorbing the Grand Mist spirit's energy. In next to no time, strand after strand of pure primordial energy entered Emo Chingyun's body. When he sensed the Grand Mist energy entering his body, Emo Chingyun didn't want to think too much and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. As he continued to refine the Grand Mist energy, Emo Chingyun's aura rose rapidly. In the blink of an eye, several days passed. Quasi-Universe Realm. After several days of cultivation, Emo Chingyun's cultivation rose another level, and he was 1 step closer to the Universe Realm. Seeing that his cultivation had broken through, Emo Chingyun cultivated for a while longer before leaving the Fortune mainland. I've been cultivating for more than 10 days, I wonder how the Supreme Harmony Devil Gate is doing. After leaving the Fortune mainland, Emo Chingyun walked out of the Supreme Harmony 7 halls with a curious expression. When he had first entered the Supreme Harmony Devil Gate, he had cultivated for more than 10 days. It could be said that he had been cultivating for a long time. Thus, when he came out of seclusion, he wanted to gather some information so that he could act in the Supreme Harmony Devil Gate. Greetings, Senior Brother Emo. When Emo Chingyun walked into the Supreme Harmony 7 halls, a group of people walked towards him and bowed respectfully. When Mo Qingyun swept his gaze over the group of people in front of him, he recognized them. They were Gu Hao and the others that he had defeated. "Junior brothers, why are you looking for me?" After greeting Gu Hao and the others, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression and asked about their intentions. When Gu Hao heard Mo Qingyun's question, he didn't hide his intentions and said, "Senior brother Mo, we didn't come looking for you for anything. We just wanted to tell you that the Inner Disciples assessment will end today. If you want to participate, you have to hurry up. Also, I hope that Senior Brother Mo can take care of me during the assessment." Gu Hao was frank and didn't hide his intentions, which made Mo Qingyun have a good impression of him. The Inner Disciples assessment is about to end. When he heard the news from Gu Hao, Mo Qingyun was shocked. If he missed today, he would have to wait another year to become an inner disciple. "Fortunately, I came out today." Mo Qingyun felt a sense of relief. He looked at Gu Hao and the others gratefully and said, "Thank you for your reminder. Please take me to register." "Yes." When Gu Hao heard Mo Qingyun's words, he immediately led the way. It wasn't long before Mo Qingyun arrived before a hall under Gu Hao's lead. At this moment, the hall was filled with disciples who were registering their information. When the disciples saw Mo Qingyun, they all revealed respectful expressions and immediately made way for him. "Thank you, everyone." Mo Qingyun nodded his head humbly in response to everyone's politeness. Everyone was flattered by Mo Qingyun's action and had a good impression of Mo Qingyun. The current Mo Qingyun gave them a completely different feeling compared to when he was in the Devil Extinction Valley. After exchanging pleasantries with everyone, Mo Qingyun came before an old man and registered his identity. Shortly after, he walked to the side and waited for the Inner Disciples assessment to begin. When Mo Qingyun was waiting, Gu Tian and a group of people came and quickly registered their information. When Gu Tian saw Mo Qingyun, his expression immediately changed and his gaze became gloomy. "You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.